This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Toll-free number's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us online. Just drop by freetalklive.com and enjoy the features you'll find on our website. And one of the features you'll find on the site is our guests page. Now, Free Talk Live isn't really a guest-oriented talk radio show. And we just focus on callers and issues. It's a panel discussion. We focus on the ideas of liberty. But every now and then there's somebody who is a really unique character that I think we should talk to on the air. And even less often do we actually have a guest return to talk more than once on Free Talk Live. Again, it's not a guest-oriented show. But this next guest we've had on a couple times in the past. She used to be known as Miss Ann. She now goes by Melyssa Hubbard, and it was years ago. I don't even know when our first interview was with you, Miss Ann. It was certainly in the early days of Free Talk Live, back when you were Miss Ann the Dominatrix. Welcome back to Free Talk Live.
Thanks, Ian. It's great catching up with you again.
Yeah, and by the way, you're on with Jonny Ray tonight. Hey, Johnny.
Hey,
Hi,
Ian.
Johnny.
Hi, Miss Ann.
And so Miss Ann is in the Indianapolis area, and you're still in the Indy area, correct?
Yes, I am. Oh, and my name, my first name is Melyssa, and I go by that now. Ann is my middle name.
Okay,
And
it's gonna be a challenge for me to change that, but
that's all right.
I'll do my best. It's not insulting for someone to call you Miss Ann, is it?
Oh, not exactly, but
good.
as an author now, I'm going by
Right.
Melyssa Hubbard.
Melyssa Hubbard with a Y in the Melyssa. Now, Melyssa, it's great to have you back on Free Talk Live. The first time we had you on was as a dominatrix. The second time we had you on was as a political activist, and now you've written a book about your transition from dominatrix to political activist. It's called Spanking City Hall.
Yes, the book's out now on ebook. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and you can also order hardback copies from my website, spankingcityhall.com.
It sounds like a tell-all. Is it a tell-all, Miss Hubbard?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. It takes the reader really through my journey, why I became a dominatrix in the first place. I left a corporate career as an account executive and started a rather wacky business. It's kind of complex why I did it, but I don't regret it. And then I was persecuted by the city several years later, and I had to go and fight for First Amendment freedom. The book takes the reader through, how I made that transition.
Now, we had you on when you were talking about that transition, or that going to political activist. What were some of the things that that you did that were really noteworthy, I think, during that campaign, or what you were trying to do?
Well, the first thing I did was I realized that the people are authored in America to be dominant over their government. And so I took the skills that I learned in the underground and brought them out into the light of day and taught my neighbors in an affluent neighborhood in Indianapolis that their rightful role is the dominant, that the government is not their boss. They are the boss of their government. And a dominant has to take control of their submissive. And again, the government is authored to be our submissive. But in any dominant submission relationship, sometimes the submissive doesn't really know their place and they have to be put into their place. So I kind of got my neighbors into this headspace a little bit that they were the boss, and was fortunate enough to be able to get hundreds of homeowners in an affluent area of Meridian Kessler to take to the streets, some of whom carried actual pitchforks.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you get your more affluent residents in the streets with pitchforks, I do think the government pays attention, and
I bet they would.
Melyssa, I have a question. Pardon me. When you say America is authored to be, for the people to be dominant over the government, are you talking about the Constitution, founding documents, that sort of thing?
the founding documents. If in the world of dominance and submission, the dominants will capitalize their pronouns, like and they capitalize their name. Like, you know, if a submissive would write to me and he or refer to me as a she, the S in she would be capitalized.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at we the people, it's capitalized.
It is.
It is. That denotes our dominance.
But actions speak louder than words, right, Melyssa? I mean, so, okay, sure, the words on paper say that that's a government by the people, for the people, etc. But the reality of the situation is these government guys are using violence against people who have not consented, unlike a dominatrix submissive relationship, which is a fully consensual relationship in most cases. We haven't consented necessarily to the rule of these people, and so were you sort of fomenting this uprising, or sort of intellectual uprising, not so much a violent one, but an intellectual one? And do you feel like it's stuck? Has it stuck? Has government gotten smaller in Indianapolis as a result of that?
Well, no, it hasn't gotten smaller. Our victory was that we were able to, oust a mayor, and we got some property tax relief, and it did keep some homeowners in their homes. It saved about $2 billion so far, but I just attended a meeting last night and learned that, they're possibly coming out with new bills again, and there could be increases, up to 20%.
Woo.
I haven't looked into that yet, so, I don't know for sure, but yeah, they just always keep coming back.
They sure do. They're pretty persistent. And one of the things I've found over time is that getting liberty activists together in the same geographic area, which is what we're doing with the Free State Project, actually can have an impact. And we're seeing that happen here. I'm wondering, how familiar are you with the Free State Project, and how do you feel about it?
I've often given thought to moving to New Hampshire myself and being part of the movement. As an author now, my life is opening up in such a way that I'm going to have freedom that I haven't had before. And that means that I could move to another area if I wanted to. And New Hampshire is one of those areas that I'm looking at.
Excellent. I have to say that there's an interesting impact that has happened here already. We've got, I told you off the air that we had some elections today here in New Hampshire, sort of town elections and school board elections. And in a town called Bedford, which is just a kind of a bedroom community outside of Manchester, a couple of Free State Project participants ran, one for town council, the other for school board, and they have been attacked like you would not believe by the political establishment. I mean, these are two guys who are new to town. They don't have that much political capital, but the people who support the state actually spent thousands of dollars to create a two-sided, full-page, full-color flyer that was mailed to every household in Bedford at the cost of who knows how many thousands of dollars for the postage and the printing, warning people about the Free State Project, which really is like a free campaign for us. I mean, it's essentially a wonderful public relations campaign, and just the way the people inside the state are reacting to the impact the Free State Project has already had. And we haven't even started the official move yet. I mean, Jonny Ray and I are here, and 1,500 others are, but we're early movers. There's still 15,000 people that basically haven't come here yet. So it's very, very exciting what's already happening. And our listeners who've been following for a long time, of course, remember you from the early days of Free Talk Live calling in. And now they can get the whole story from your book, Spanking City Hall, Dominatrix to Political Activist. It's got you, or what is presumably you, a kind of a shot from below with like what looks like a riding crop. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to check out. And I really appreciate you coming back on Free Talk Live to freshen our audience up on what you're doing.
Thanks for having me.
Melyssa, thank you again. That's spankingcityhall.com. Melyssa Hubbard, formerly known as Miss Ann. Really appreciate you coming on. We're going to come back with more of your calls and thoughts. You can dial in toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. More Free Talk Live coming up.
I want to share something important that will not only improve your life, but the lives of many others as well. And all you need to do is drink coffee. I'm not talking about harmful store-bought or chain coffee. No, this is truly the best of the best coffee. We've partnered with Camano Island Coffee Roasters to offer BuzzBox. With every purchase, 10% goes towards our efforts to give the gift of human freedom by providing at least 100 microfinance loans via World Vision. So literally, just one cup at a time, you're having an impact and helping make a difference in the world. And one sip will have you buzzing to family and friends. To prove just how good it is, we're giving a free pound of coffee to everyone in the audience. All you do is cover shipping. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com. BuzzBox coffee is organic, so it contains no pesticides or toxins. It's shade grown, so less acidity and no heartburn. It's top 1% Arabica grade and gives people the opportunity to own their own coffee farms. Join us in making a huge impact at coffee.freetalklive.com.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. This is Mark of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the economic engine that powers our country. With a printing press tethered to Washington bureaucrats and New York central bankers, how can we trust paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, or go to gold.freetalklive.com. Again, 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and we'll take your calls about whatever's on your mind right here, toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
Don't forget, you can join us online. Just drop by freetalklive.com. Bulletin board system is there. You can get interactive at bbs.freetalklive.com. bbs.freetalklive.com. And as I mentioned, we were talking about the Free State Project a little bit there with Melyssa Hubbard, author and activist in the Indianapolis area. And she was talking about seriously considering making a move to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, as should anyone who cares about the ideas of liberty. That's the reason, Jonny Ray, that you and I moved here. You from Asheville, North Carolina, me from Florida. And I have to say, it's been a great experience thus far. There are all kinds of wonderful people who've moved here already and have gotten active, and we're really having an impact. If you want to experience what it's like to be around other people who actually care about freedom and are willing to do something, you really should check out the Free State Project. Go to freestateproject.org. Now, nobody said this was going to be a cakewalk. I mean, there's work to be done. It is a project. A lot of people will say, you should move to the Free State. Whoa! It's not a free state yet. There are a lot of problems in New Hampshire, but it's probably the best place to get started on such a project because it already is arguably the freest of places. You know, I was actually at the polls today, Jonny Ray. There was an election. I know you don't care about elections very much. You, in fact, are an anti-voter kind of person.
Yeah, voting is antisocial.
So that's a whole other discussion. But I was at the polls, and I was being social. I was talking with people. That's kind of the definition of being social, I think, to some extent. I was interviewing folks who were coming out of the voting location. There's 2 voting locations here in Keene for this school board election today. Normally in Keene there's 5, but they combine them because there's not as much turnout for this particular election, so they don't run all 5 locations. So anyway, I went to one of those locations. First, I went ahead and I voted. I am running for school board here in Keene, New Hampshire. And so I went and voted. Then I went and I got my clipboard out of the car and stood outside of the polling location, well within the little radius. They have a certain distance away from the front door that campaigners have to be.
Yeah, you're not allowed to electioneer inside those.
But I wasn't campaigning. I was running an exit poll, so they weren't able to remove me from that area. And
did they try?
There was an old guy who came out, like a poll worker guy, who told me that I'm not allowed to campaign, and I told him that I was running an exit poll. Pulled my camera out, turned it on, started rolling, and he would not talk on camera. He walked away. Okay. So that was the only trouble. That was the only trouble that I had. So what I was doing was I was running a quick one-question exit poll survey. You know, the idea being, people are, for the most part, not going to respond. You know, if you have any sort of exit poll, it's going to be very difficult to get people to actually stop and talk to you. And it turned out that was true. 54% of the people that I talked to, and I talked to 120 people in about an hour and 15 minutes. So 120 people, 65 of them, or 54%, would not talk to me. They blew me off with some sort of answer like, yeah, not only do they not have time, or they, you know, like when they answered the question, their answer would have been like not real clear. So, but most people didn't have time. The question was, do you think government is too big, too small, or just right? And the responses that I got, so of the people that responded, or of the 120, 34 said it was too big, and 17 said it was just right, and 4 said the government was too small. And it was interesting, too, because when I first started asking people, just right was actually winning. It had a sizable lead over too big. But then as the time went on, as you know, I'd been there for an hour plus, too big took the lead and stayed in a strong lead. So of the people that actually answered the question, 62% said that the government was too big, 31% said that it was just right, and 7% said that it was too small. But then again, the majority wouldn't answer.
Well, I have nothing to add to that. That sounds just about like how the people would answer.
You think so? Yeah, I didn't have any preconceived notions going in because, you know, if you think about it, this is not a slice of the average person of Keene. This is a slice of the voting populace. And not only the voting populace, but the voting populace, the slice of them that are willing to actually come out and vote on a school board election, which is the smallest of the small possible turnouts.
Right. Well, it just seems to me that government it's a real popular scapegoat. It's most people will tell you, most people will happily agree with you about the foibles of politicians and make jokes about them, and everybody agrees that government is inefficient and so forth. And
most people agree, I think, on that. Yeah,
I think it's popular to poke fun at government because they have a record of incompetence, and nobody likes being taxed, and yet we still have this government, this monopoly on violence.
That's right. It's very persistent.
Yeah, it is. I would say that humanity has made incredible strides in the past 10, 20 years, and it signals a fresh new tomorrow.
Well, I agree. I have a bright view for the future as well. It's just that it takes a long time for that change to come around, especially when we're talking about the system, which is very, very anathema to change. They're not interested in changing much at all, and it's very, very difficult to get that to change. And that's one of the reasons why I'm willing to participate in that system, because I see it as one way of fomenting some level of change. We've seen people working within the system actually having an effect here in New Hampshire, as against it as some are, like yourself, Jonny Ray. The evidence points to it actually being effective here in New Hampshire. And I didn't believe that at first when I first moved here, but it was proven to me by the people who've been active in politics. Don't get me wrong, it's still an inefficient, annoying, frustrating, slow, awful system. But in New Hampshire, we can actually make an impact, and that's kind of what part of the Free State Project is about. But you don't have to be politically active to be involved in the Free State Project. Jonny Ray, you're a perfect example of that. You can do other things with your activism that hopefully will bring people to the ideas of liberty, for instance.
Yeah, my activism these days is solely talking to judges, really. If most people
talking to judges, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean,
going to court?
Yeah, I'll get every now and then. Maybe I don't get my car inspected, and the police, they're experts at looking at stickers, and they do it all day long. And they'll see me with the wrong color sticker on my car, and they'll give me a ticket for it. So I bring my tickets to court, and I've won sometimes. Sometimes I've lost.
So you work within the system too, then?
It's true. I guess I do. I mean, if I was working outside the system, I would.
Busted.
To be a pure as the driven snow libertarian, I guess that I would need to ignore any of these summons.
But they won't be
forth.
ignored. They refuse to be ignored.
Right.
They are willing to force themselves upon you. They're willing to take you and kidnap you away from whatever pleasurable activity or work-related activity you were involved in, and then force you to stand in front of that man in the robe. And if you won't stand, they'll at the very least force you to sit there in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Which we've seen happen with activists who've done varying levels of civil disobedience and non-cooperation. And I'm the first person to support civil disobedience. I think it's a great idea. But until we have the numbers of people willing to do civil disobedience on any decent level, I mean, dozens would be nice, we're not going to have an impact, a meaningful impact with civil disobedience, at least on the system. Civil disobedience with a few people can have an impact on the discussion. People will talk about the issue that can be fomented by doing civil disobedience. But again, it's all about numbers, and that's what the Free State Project is good for. It's getting numbers of people who love liberty together. FreeStateProject.org, you can learn more about that. Coming up, a porn star was revealed, and we'll tell you what happened. It's Free Talk Live.
Did you know that organic sulfur can cleanse and defend your body against the poisons we're exposed to each day? Organic sulfur crystals from SulfurDefense.com help by forcing oxygen and nutrition into your cells while eliminating heavy metals, contaminants, and damaging radiation. Defend yourself and family from toxic assault with one of the most critical and essential minerals available today. Order online at SulfurDefense.com. That's SulfurDefense.com or call 800-593-6273.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Imagine for a moment a radio program, the most personal of mediums, that reaches hundreds of thousands of people on more than 140 radio stations across the U.S. and around the world through the internet with podcasts and live streams. Imagine the advertising is affordable, from $600 to $6,000 a month. Free Talk Live is that program. We will work with you to get clicks, calls, views, or sales. Email me at mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want right here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And, of course, you can join us online. By the way, we've got Skype. You can Skype into the show. Our username is lrn.fm, so feel free to use that if you have it. If you do have Skype and you get to choose between Skype and regular phone call, go ahead and make a Skype call. It almost always sounds better. You can join us online on our webcam. Go to cam.freetalklive.com. It's built right into the same page as our chat room, so you can easily interact with other Free Talk Live listeners while listening to and or watching via the cam feed at cam.freetalklive.com. Bitcoins are all over the news, but you might be wondering where you can go to get them. Well, I would recommend cashintocoins.com. The instructions there are clear. It's easy, safe, fast, legal, inexpensive, and customer service is their top priority. You can use a money order, check, or wire transfer, and their rates are great as well. You donate some of your fee to charity, and as always, orders under $40 carry no fee at cashintocoins.com. It's the easiest way, in my opinion, to buy Bitcoins, with the exception of buying from somebody who happens to be sitting across the table. So, Jonny Ray, if you wanted to sell me Bitcoins, you certainly could. But it can be hard to find people who want to sell Bitcoins sometimes. So go to cashintocoins.com. They've always got something to sell you. cashintocoins.com.
Yeah, if you live in Keene, it's relatively easy to do your local Bitcoin trading, but otherwise not so easy. You might need some professionals.
I live in Keene, and I've used cashintocoins.com as well. So we'll, of course, take your calls about whatever's on your mind. Since we started the show out tonight talking with who was formerly known as Miss Ann, she's now Melyssa Hubbard, and she's an author, but she used to be at Dominatrix, since we're kind of on the sex topic.
She wrote Spanking City Hall.
Let's talk about Belle Knox. Have you heard about this girl, Jonny Ray? Belle Knox?
Yes. Duke University.
That's right. She's been making headlines over the past couple of weeks as a porn star who was a college student at Duke University and apparently was outed by some toolbag, some kind of, what do they call him, frat bro or something like that.
Okay.
He's a member of, I believe he's a member of a fraternity, and he had somehow come across the information that this young lady, I believe college freshman, was starring in pornography. And he let it out that she was a porn star, and word spread, and people got very, very nasty.
Yeah, I think he approached her first.
Is that right?
Yeah, and talked to her, and I think he maybe told her that her secret was safe with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard about that.
But
apparently not.
But not.
So he released that to the world, and people just turned on her and started being very, very nasty and very condescending towards her. I've actually got an article that she wrote after all of this kind of coming out. She's sort of coming out of the closet on her own at this point, but I'll share that with you. But there's actually interesting news, Jonny Ray. I don't know if you heard about this. The student who outed her, turns out he himself has a $1,000 a month porn habit. According to New York Post, nypost.com, the Duke freshman who ratted out a classmate as a porn star is himself a prolific porn purchaser, according to a top skin flick distributor. Big mouth frat boy Thomas Begley shells out $1,000 a month as a subscriber to a hardcore porn site, facialabuse.com, according to Mike Kulik, CEO of Monarchy Distribution. Now, I find this to be just fascinating because you don't ever really hear about people's porn habits publicly. I can't even imagine spending $1,000 a month, not on multiple porn sites, but on this one porn site.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm guessing, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what sort of services they offer on facialabuse.com, but for $1,000 a month, this guy must be spending a serious amount of time on this website. I mean, they probably have some sort of like webcam thing. Maybe he's paying for cam chats or something like that.
Maybe so. $12,000 a year.
It's insane.
Yeah, well, Duke University is a prestigious school. I suspect his parents...
He's got money.
That his family has money and he's got a real generous allowance.
Kulik wrote to this young man in an open letter on the internet. He wrote, "I would like to thank you for being such a fan of our business. I want to commend you for spending the $200 a week your parents send you every week for living expenses wisely. Facial Abuse is a great site. I like your taste. I want to also commend you on getting accepted into Duke. Great school. I'm sure your parents are proud. You're the type of guy that makes our business move." Begley, this is the rat, sparked a firestorm when he learned that a female freshman classmate was moonlighting as an adult film actress, and then blabbed to his friends. The woman, known as Belle Knox, that's her porn name, went public in a blog post saying she took the lucrative side gig to help pay her $60,000 a year Duke tuition. In his missive to Begley, Mr. Kulik offered the freckle-faced freshman $10,000 to star in a facial abuse scene with the actress of his choice.
Good grief.
"I want to give you the opportunity to live out all your fantasies," wrote Kulik. "Get your butt out and come shoot for us. We'll make you a celebrity because it's apparent how much you love porn and attention. $10,000 is a lot of money for a kid like you. Do you know how many porn memberships you could buy with that?" Meanwhile, on Thursday, Knox told CNN's Piers Morgan that Duke University officials are backing her controversial side career. She says they've been very supportive of me and we're working really hard to make sure that I'm safe. She also confessed the gig meant more to her than just cold, hard cash. She said to be in porn and to be able to be naked and to be able to be free and have that sexual autonomy is so incredibly freeing, Knox gushed. She bashed those who slammed her, claiming that many of them are probably porn viewers themselves, saying, "I think 80% of the world's traffic on the internet is pornography." The women's studies major said, "And I think that probably every single person at some point in their life has watched pornography. So I think it's extremely hypocritical that the same society that consumes me is also condemning me." And there's more. I'm pretty sure they're taking those statements from her full-on blog post that she made about this. But I just find this letter by Mike Kulik to be particularly funny. And the part they left out from the New York Post was where at the very end, the last paragraph of this letter from CEO of Monarchy Distribution, he says, "I ask that you seriously consider our offer. Any girl you want. Come on out to L.A. and become a star. Also, for every inch you're packing over 4, I'll throw in an extra $1,000. I love it. So I haven't seen any news as to whether or not Mr. Begley has responded to the invitation here, but I don't expect that he will. What do you think, Jonny Ray? Do you think he's going to jump on that offer?
I need to start at $1,000 a month porn addiction so that I'll be invited to to facial abuse.
Our toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. So I'd like to share the letter from Belle Knox because she kind of reveals what this experience has been like for her. And she does, I think, a good job of calling out the hypocrisy of people. I mean, you've got this Toolbag frat boy who has outed this young lady for a career that there's some danger involved. I mean, being a porn star, there's inevitably going to be a number of creepy guys who have way too keen of an interest in you. And that could be an awkward thing to deal with if people are knowing who you are in real life. And I can understand why this young lady would have wanted him to keep it quiet. I mean, it's not necessarily that she's embarrassed about what she's doing, and she'll make that clear in her article. But it is kind of, there's a level of risk, I think, involved in this career.
Yeah, I wish that I could comment more, but work in the porn industry and these women's issues, I feel like, Ian, that women and men are living in two completely different worlds, and the things that move women to do what they do, I can't begin to understand. And I don't mean that as a disparaging remark towards women. They feel the same way about us, I'm sure, and we do stupid things that are kind of unique to us being men. But I guess that's all I got to say about it, just that I don't know what I'm talking about. If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to be a porn star. If I was a man, and I am, I guess I wouldn't mind.
It would seem a little bit of a safer career for the man in the porn. But I could be speculating. Maybe there's female groupies and obsessive female fans of porn too, but it wouldn't seem to be as likely.
Well, and I think men get paid peanuts to do that work, and women get paid a lot more.
More coming up here in moments. We'll come back with her thoughts. So you're right. We're not ladies. Jonny Ray, it's hard for us to have this perspective. We're going to give her words here in a few moments. It's Free Talk Live.
The following is an important free offer for smokers only. The makers of Victor, the world's most advanced e-cigarette, have just authorized the release of free starter kits to all smokers who call in the next 10 minutes. Valued at $99, these Victor starter kits are available for free, but only while supplies last. To guarantee your free kit, call in the next 10 minutes, 1-800-564-6941. The revolutionary Victor design creates only water vapor. There is no foul-smelling smoke and no unhealthy tar. This allows individuals to enjoy the nicotine they love without restriction, no matter where they are. The financial advantages over cigarettes are considerable as well. It is estimated that the average smoker can save hundreds of dollars a month with Victor. Again, free Victor starter kits are now available to any smoker who calls in the next 10 minutes. This is a radio-only offer not available in stores, so call now for your free kit. 1-800-564-6941. 1-800-564-6941. 1-800-564-6941.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-6062. That's 800-953-6062. 800-953-6062.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
Immigrating to the Shire was easy. I was instantly plugged into a community of individuals who also care about peace, liberty, and justice, and are willing to do something about it.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
When I signed up for the Free State Project, I was excited by the prospect of moving somewhere with other people that had liberty as a goal. When I got here to New Hampshire, I was stunned by the great weather and the natural beauty. The Free State Project is helping to move liberty forward. Want to be involved? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org. That's freestateproject.org.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Free.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you'd like, toll free here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. You can Skype into the show. Username LRN.FM. We're talking about the Duke University student. Belle Knox is her porn star name. She's been outed by some Toolbag college student who basically outed her as a porn star, and then she started receiving some really awful threats and just terrible behavior on the part of certain individuals. She's calling them out in an article at xojane.com, and I want to jump into that here in a moment. Also, of course, share with you, you're welcome to share with us your thoughts. Jonny Ray joining me here. Again, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And don't forget, you can go to freetalklive.com. You can actually create the content there. So if you find something, some sort of news story or blog post, YouTube video that you think's interesting, and you want to share it with our listeners and the hosts of the show, you can share that over at freetalklive.com. You do need to have a Free Talk Live account and a Reddit account. Both of those are free. Only takes you a moment to sign up if you haven't done so already. And then you link the two accounts together. Makes it easy to vote up content on the site, vote down the stuff you don't like, and submit content as well. So we appreciate everybody who's taken the time to do that over at freetalklive.com. The headline at xojane.com, as written by Belle Knox, is "I'm finally revealing my name and face as the Duke porn star." Subheader: I've never been told to die in quite so many ways. I didn't expect today to happen. My decision to do porn to pay for college was a private one I made, and then I was outed to my university classmates by another Duke student who'd seen me on the internet a few months ago. After promising me he would respect my privacy, he proceeded to reveal who I was to the entire Greek system, which is when all of this controversy first began. I started to be harassed, and he started to be applauded. Isn't that always the way? The porn performer is to be shamed. The porn consumer is to be celebrated. Soon after, the Duke Chronicle wrote a somewhat patronizing portrait of me, disguising my name and using the preferred nom de plume of Lauren. When I was contacted by XOJane to write a piece, I continued to use the name Lauren. The question I'm asked over and over again is this: if I am proud of being an adult performer, then why do I hide behind this fake name? Because the bullies of the world, starting with that young Duke man who broke his promise to me, do not dictate my life. Because my decision to do porn does not somehow mean that the world now owns or deserves access to every single thing about me and every choice I make. My birth name is one name. It is mine. It is the name I'm enrolled in at Duke. It's what my family and friends call me. My porn name is another name. It's the name I use when I perform. These are two different worlds in which I inhabit. I can't stop you from calling me any name you want to, including slut, whore, or bitch, but I can decide what name I use. Today, I'm going to officially reveal what my porn name is, outside of the dregs of the internet trying to bully me into using my birth name for porn on message boards where comments like, "her nose is bigger than her tits," or "she deserves to be raped," are the common parlance, and that is my choice to make. The internet does not dictate my life. My sexuality is not some sort of blackmail to be used against me, granting you ownership over my life or my story. It's my life. It's my story. So I'm refusing to let the bullies win. Instead, in revealing my performer name, I'm going to let you know exactly the level of hate that exists in America regarding women who refuse to be quiet about their sexuality. Because while my supporters are many and have blown me away with their love and their kindness, in recent days since the publication of the XO Jane essay coming out as the Duke porn star, but not revealing my name or my face, I find myself increasingly the target of marginalization, hate speech on message boards of the internet, and demeaning threats in every avenue of my life. Most recently, I have been told that I am an embarrassment to Duke. I bring nothing but bad publicity to my school, and I need to be silent. Do I want to behave and be a good girl? Then no more media, I'm told. The message repeated to me seems clear. You are not a human being. You have no rights or feelings. You are simply a nuisance. You have to stay silent, no matter what. Just stay silent. In my own personal life, I'm devastated to reveal that many of those closest to me have unleashed similar cruelty. Many have simply shut me out. Some of my best and oldest friends have told me that I deserve anything negative or horrible that comes my way.
I think she has had a rift with her family.
I'm not real clear on that. I saw a headline that claimed that her family's supporting of her, but I don't know. I haven't looked into that. If you want, Jonny Ray, maybe during the news break we can dig in and find out if that's true. But she's certainly having rifts with some of her best and oldest friends, which is a very difficult thing to discover that, oh, well, wait, in point of fact, your friends aren't your actual friends. And in a lot of cases, when you reveal, who you truly are to people, then you really find out what they really think about you. And you find out who your real friends are. Unfortunately, it usually has to happen the hard way. Anyway, she goes on to say that terrible things are what I brought upon myself when I decided to do porn. To this, I would ask, what about the people who consume porn? The adult industry racks up $13.3 billion in the U.S. alone. And do we honestly wish collective evil, shame, and condemnation upon every human being involved in this gigantic, and I would add legitimate, business? Because this is incredibly disturbing to me, she says. I don't even care if you're condemning me, but look at the thousands of other women who you're condemning as well. Do you really think you're better than us? Perhaps ask your husband or boyfriend or son or brother or your wife or girlfriend or daughter or sister if they have ever watched porn. Do they also deserve bad things and terrifying threats against their safety? No? Then look at the double standard you're employing. Look at the hate that you're so comfortable inflicting upon the performers, but not on the consumers who drive the industry's success and profitability. Perhaps most frightening of all is my most private information has been targeted as a result of my outing as a porn star. I've had phone numbers and personal details put online. This disgusting action is being done as if to threaten me that if I dare speak out about anything, there will be a price to pay. I also want to say this is my story, not anyone else's, and my family deserves to be left alone. If you harass them, you're not only a bully, you're also a coward. Let's keep this 1-to-1. You don't like what I do? Tell it to me. Have some guts. Of course, it's easy to see what quality of people are behind the Let's Bully the Duke porn star campaign. On social media, a full vitriolic war has been officially waged. Fake Twitter accounts in my name have been started, and the tweets have included the following. You should slit your wrists and die, you stupid bitch. We are going to throw garbage at her every effing day. Let's do it. Greek frat! With a bunch of exclamation marks. The school should either expel her or we will take matters into our own hands and make this F-up suffer. Cheers. F you. This one's all in caps. If I see you walking on campus, I will kick you in the face. So she goes on. She says, I called the police to report these threats, and in the spirit of slut shaming, I was immediately barraged with a line of insensitive, doubting questions. These brutal suggestions that people should kick me in the face if they saw me were nothing more than childish threats, I was told. Then I was asked question after question to poke holes in how any of these threats might be legitimate and how I was to blame for the terror that I have experienced. So apparently going to the police and reporting the threats wasn't very helpful for Ms. Knox. So let's see, going on here. Is this from an ex-boyfriend, she's asked. No. Are you sure? Yes. Are you dating anyone? No. Are you sure you haven't angered any guys lately? I suppose, she says, I should not be surprised by this level of disrespect as to my welfare and safety. I suppose I should not be shocked at the lack of sensitivity women have been afforded, I have been afforded, because sadly, these are the realities that women, especially sex workers, face every day. We're scorned by the very same people that encourage us to be sexual. Come on, baby. You know you want to. You're so hot.
Ian, do you think that you can tap into any of that anger that she's getting from these guys? Can you feel where a guy might have that feeling for somebody that they discover as a porn star?
That they would be angry at her?
Yeah, angry at her.
I think that's horrifying that somebody would treat this young lady in that way.
I am not angry at her, but I can sympathize with the Greek frat boys.
How can you sympathize with them?
Well,
wait, sympathize or empathize?
Oh,
sympathize means you feel sorry for them, but empathize means you can understand how they feel.
Okay, I think empathize then.
How can you empathize with those people?
I'm sort of thinking out loud here, but it's sort of like it's and this is something I've grown out of, but when I was younger and I would see an interracial couple, even though I knew that we were living in a new world and I shouldn't feel really one way or the other about it, I'd get this twinge inside because that's my girl. That's not your girl. You're black.
Whoa. Wow, that's very honest of you, Jonny Ray. I think we should talk further about this coming up here in hour number 2. She's got more to say, but we need to dig into what you're saying as well.
Yeah, my problems.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And yeah, the people that are angry at this young lady have problems. They've got issues they're trying to deal with, and they're instead lashing out at her. Our toll-free number, again, 855-450-FREE. If you want to comment on the Belle Knox situation or whatever's on your mind goes here on Free Talk Live.
Right now until March 18th, the flooring experts at Lumber Liquidators have huge deals going to fit any taste or budget, like donor oak laminate for an amazing 39 cents a square foot, beautiful carbonized bamboo for just $139, even spectacular Bellawood pre-finished Bolivian rosewood for an incredible $299 a square foot. Pick up free samples at hundreds of stores nationwide, plus special financing available and easy professional installation or expert advice for DIYers. But hurry, this sale ends March 18th. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you.
Meowbit is free software from the Freedom Fiends that allows you to effortlessly view .bit websites. Meowbit works on all browsers. .bit is a new type of web address that's not controlled by any government or corporation. And we'll show you how to register a .bit domain today using a few cents worth of Namecoin. If anyone ever shuts down your .com website, users will still be able to get to your site using your .bit address in our free software, Meowbit. Go to meowbit.com. That's meowbit.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You're listening to the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates, online at thelibertybeat.com. This is Justin Armand.
And this is Jessica Armand.
Here with your Liberty Beat for March 11th, 2014.
Gold opened today at $1,349, silver at $21.16, and Bitcoin is trading at $627. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from GrowYourOwnGroceries.org. Learn to grow, prepare, and preserve your own food and medicine at GrowYourOwnGroceries.org, and from Brave New Books, online at BraveNewBookstore.com. And from Affordable Sound, CD and DVD duplication along with posters and promotional materials, online at affordablesound.com, or give them a call at 512-459-5253. And now the news.
Over $2 million. That's the amount of taxes Colorado collected in 1 month from retail marijuana sales. It was only a few months ago that pot became legal in the state. The Associated Press reports that retail marijuana sales topped $14 million during the first month, which fell below state predictions. Taxes collected on Colorado marijuana sales go towards a variety of state projects, including school construction. A federal judge temporarily ended the destruction of millions of data records collected by the NSA more than 5 years ago. Russia Today reports that U.S. District Judge Jeffrey White of San Francisco has ordered the NSA to halt the destruction until March 19th. That's when another hearing will be held to further extend the deadline. Internet privacy advocates, Electronic Frontier Foundation, had petitioned for the restraining order. A 15-year-old boy hit in the head by a tear gas canister launched by police in Turkey has died. The Associated Press reports that Berkin Elvan had been in a coma since the time of the incident. He died Tuesday at a hospital in Istanbul. He was on his way to buy bread when he became entangled in last summer's anti-government protests that led police to launch the tear gas canister.
Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Sovereign BTC, media, marketing, and consulting for the Bitcoin ecosystem, operated by Liberty Beat founder John Bush. Online at sovereignbtc.com. And from The Corey Moore Show, live Friday nights 9 p.m. Central Standard Time at CoreyMooreShow.com. And from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, precious metals at reasonable rates since 1977. Online at rrbi.co. You're listening to the Liberty Beat for March 11th, 2014. Be sure to check out the website at thelibertybeat.com.
On Monday, NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden spoke via Skype at the South by Southwest Media and Arts Festival in Austin, Texas. The former intelligence contractor has appeared in international reviews since leaking information on the NSA's mass surveillance program last summer. However, this was the first time speaking directly to an American audience. Snowden spoke extensively on encryption of data and the use of Tor browser as solutions, as well as encouraging the communications industry to create programs with built-in protections. When asked whether he had regrets about his decision to leak the documents, Snowden responded, "Would I do it again? Absolutely, regardless of what happens to me. This is something we had a right to. I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and I saw the Constitution was being violated on a massive scale." The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, announced on Monday that it will begin sending reconnaissance flights to watch the escalating situation in Ukraine. Eastern Ukraine has been the scene of an international crisis as Russian troops invaded and seized control of the Crimean Peninsula last week. NATO released a statement detailing plans to fly the airborne warning and control system planes over Poland and Romania. The United States is expected to contribute more U.S. fighter jets to Poland as part of the NATO mission. According to an internal document obtained by Reuters, biotechnology corporation Syngenta will be removing one of its genetically engineered seeds from the Canadian market.
Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Central Texas Gunworks, CHL courses, self-defense training, and firearm sales. Call them at 512-731-3585 or find them online at centraltexasgunworks.com. And from Cabo Bob's, Southwest burritos with homemade tortillas. Online at cabobobs.com.
You've been listening to the Liberty Beat. Remember, freeing your mind is freeing our world.
Did you know that 35% of high school girls report that they've only had sex with 1 or 2 partners a year, instead of having the living shit out of them by any guy they see?
Did you know that only half of all 17-year-old males report without a condom?
even though it's really the only way to go.
There are thousands of American teenagers today who are unaware of the full benefits of f***ing your brains out all day, every day. These otherwise average high schoolers haven't been taught about f***ing every chance you get, pounding each other dry, and never ever pulling out. Every sexually active high school student should know this stuff. Ditch the condoms, because it's always better raw. Stop worrying about STDs. F*** every chance you get. Just keep f***ing and f***ing and f***ing. Strangers, doesn't matter who. And most importantly, be direct with your partner about how badly you want to f*** their brains out.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join us on Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm, so feel free to reach out to us in that way. Whatever way is most convenient for you. Again, toll-free 855-450-FREE. We're talking about porn star Belle Knox. She has been outed by some college toolbag in the fraternity system who had originally promised he wasn't going to out her, and then he went ahead and did so anyway. And since then, she's received threats, some pretty scary stuff being sent to her online from usually anonymous people, some claiming to be in her school, and that's got to be a pretty disturbing experience to be going through. And I want to continue her letter here, or her blog post that she made over at xojane.com in a moment. But Jonny Ray, you said a moment ago, and I want to make sure we're pretty clear on what it is that you are saying. You said that you could empathize with the people threatening this lady, or some of the threats. You should slit your wrists and die, you stupid bitch. Can you empathize with that one, Jonny Ray?
I wouldn't write that, no.
No. What are you trying to say when you say that you can empathize with the people who are writing these things? I mean, because I find it absolutely horrifying and despicable.
Yes, you do.
Do you not?
I think it's despicable too to threaten someone with death when they haven't harmed you in any way.
Where does the empathy come in then? Can you be more clear about that for me?
I'm not sure that I can. I was trying to think about it in the time that I had to kind of organize my thoughts a little bit. And what I said before was I thought it was related to the feelings of jealousy that I would get when I would see a black man and a white woman when I was younger. Because...
Were you raised in like a racist family? Because I've never gotten a racist overtone from you at all in any of the conversations we've had.
No, I wasn't. My dad used to drive us into the projects to pick up other guys for the youth soccer that we played, and that was I think that was an experience that I had on a regular basis that was unique amongst most of the white people in my town. Was I raised in a racist family? No. I am from North Carolina. I don't think North Carolina is especially racist. I could be wrong about that. I've always felt like Yankees are a little more racist than Southerners because there's more black people in the South, so they get along better. But having said that, it was just, yes, I did feel apart from the black community because the black community and the white community in Asheville were separated for the most part, and I think that's how it is across most of the country. It's changing for the better.
But how does your I guess, innate uncomfortability with people that are interracially related or having a relationship interracially, how is your... And then you're saying this was in the past, so that's not happening with you today?
Right. Yes.
How does that tie in with the idea that you can relate to the people who are upset at porn star Belle Knox? They feel like they own her because she's in their porn collection? I don't understand what you're getting at there.
Well, let me approach it from a different angle. Have you heard that there's a joke? What's the difference between a slut and a bitch?
Oh, I don't know. What is?
A slut will sleep with everybody and a bitch will sleep with everybody but you.
Okay.
So so porn stars sleep with have a lot of different partners.
And they get paid for it.
Yep. And so I think it's sort of something like that. It's jealousy that maybe this student that knew her, that ended up outing her, he probably would have liked to sleep with her. She's
a very beautiful young lady.
Yeah, she is. I imagine that maybe he tried to make a deal with her that she didn't go for, and that's ultimately when he decided to out her.
Like blackmail? You think he might have tried to blackmail her?
Yeah, something like that, or maybe it was more innocent than that. Maybe he just tried to, because he thought that she was easy, so he tried to put his moves on her.
Right, because she's in porn, she must be easy.
Yeah,
right?
and she turned him down,
Ridiculous.
and then that made him angry.
So you're saying you can relate to where they're coming from, meaning that at some level you feel that anger, you feel that frustration that you'll never have a chance with a girl like this. Is that kind of what you?
That's it. I think you've put it on the head right there. I think it comes from low self-esteem.
Yeah, because that's not necessarily true, right? Like the boyfriends of porn stars or girlfriends of porn stars aren't always porn stars. Right? I mean, they could be people who have nothing to do whatsoever with the porn industry, and they met this individual as the person. So, like she was talking about, she's got kind of her two roles that she inhabits. She, on one role is the student, and then on the other role is the porn star. There certainly are people who had met her through her regular life, the non-porn life, that have known her for other reasons and didn't even know up until now that she was involved in pornography. So it's not like it wouldn't be possible for the average person to meet this young lady. But yeah, you're right. Self-esteem, I think, would definitely be a big factor there. People that they don't believe that would be possible, and so they lash out at anybody who does have a connection with her.
Right. I agree.
So let's continue with her story here. This is what she has to say on xojane.com. This is porn star Belle Knox. She's been outed recently by some Toolbag, and I forget what his name is, but I can pull it up here again. But anyway, the Toolbag in Duke University who outed her to the Greek system, which is the fraternity system, and she's since gotten a number of threats. She says that these are the realities that women, especially sex workers, face every day. We're scorned by the very same people that encourage us to be sexual. Come on, baby. You want to. You're so hot. And in my case, the hypocritical society that watches me behind a computer screen. I may never have a normal life again, but if I've exposed the insanity and the unfair standards that all women, and especially my sisters in the sex industry, face, if I've challenged the way that people view female sexuality, then this journey has been worth it. Society tries to tell women that our worth is contingent upon the secrecy of our sexuality. But I will not be silenced. Because for anyone who is telling me to shut up, please dissuade yourself right now of the delusion that you control or own me. It's not your right or your place to tell me to be silent. I'm not your child or your property or your Madonna or your whore. I stand for every woman who's ever been tormented for being sexual. For every woman, because it's supposed to be normal for men to be sexual, but women aren't supposed to show that in kind of this puritanical society, or this society that has a fair amount of remnants of a puritanical society. And it's huge hypocrisy, because it's always been my experience that women are very, very sexual beings. And what's wrong with them expressing that and talking about that and even showing it?
I think the evolutionists, again thinking out loud here, I think the evolutionists, and by evolutionists I mean somebody who discusses human behavior from in terms of its evolutionary advantages, they would tell us that men have a biological imperative for their woman to be chaste or to be monogamous, because they're trying to pass on their genes to another generation. And if another man impregnates your woman, then she's out of commission for 9 months plus, and that decreases your ability to procreate and create children of your own. Whereas women can pass on their genes by
That sounds like a convenient theory thought up by men, Jonny Ray.
Well, That's all I've got to say about that, I guess.
Let me go on. She says, going on, ostracized, called a slut for exercising her sexual autonomy, and for every woman who's been the victim of the double standard. You want to see me naked, and then you want to judge me for letting you see me naked. Society may feel like they're in control of my identity, but I refuse to let the dark corners of the internet determine my future. Spend a minute Googling and you'll find these awful cesspools of hate and judgment and threats. These anonymous chat boards are determined to tell me what name I need to use, where I belong, and what I deserve. Death, rape, humiliation. The truth of the matter is this: I'm one identity when I'm a student, I'm another when I do porn, and no one controls either but me. We'll come back with more here in minutes. This is Free Talk Live.
The following is an important free offer for smokers only. The makers of Victor, the world's most advanced e-cigarette, have just authorized the release of free starter kits to all smokers who call in the next 10 minutes. Valued at $99, these Victor starter kits are available for free, but only while supplies last. To guarantee your free kit, call in the next 10 minutes, 1-800-564-6941. The revolutionary Victor design creates only water vapor. There is no foul-smelling smoke and no unhealthy tar. This allows individuals to enjoy the nicotine they love without restriction, no matter where they are. The financial advantages over cigarettes are considerable as well. It is estimated that the average smoker can save hundreds of dollars a month with Victor. Again, free Victor starter kits are now available to any smoker who calls in the next 10 minutes. This is a radio-only offer not available in stores, so call now for your free kit. 1-800-564-6941. 1-800-564-6941. 1-800-564-6941.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget it. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What am I being detained for? You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate, well, I know a guy who's really great. It's the realtor Mark Warden. Do you want a home with 20 acres, a lakeside cabin, any takers for renters, buyers, and sellers too? Mark Warden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can interact with other LRN listeners in our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
Free.
Free Talk Live. Take control. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, Ian here.
And Jonny Ray.
We're talking about Belle Knox. She is, probably one of the more popular porn stars in the moment. I mean, on the positive side, she's gotten a whole lot of press coverage in the last couple of weeks. More so within the last several days after her, she has been revealed by this Toolbag college student who was going to school with her at Duke University. He promised initially he wasn't going to reveal her identity. He did end up doing that. And now he has actually been challenged by a porn producer to come out to L.A. and make pornography for $10,000, and he would get an extra $1,000 for every inch above 4. Which is pretty amusing. I highly doubt he's going to take him up on the offer. But Belle, we read her blog post that she made on xojane.com, where she basically calls out the hypocrisy of these people, a lot of these kind of toolbag college frat boys who are threatening her and being very, very awful. And she calls out their hypocrisy because, on one hand, they're being mean to this young lady. On the other hand, they're probably porn consumers.
Probably.
So it's very, very highly hypocritical. And we've pretty much shared her whole story. She wraps up her essay by saying that today I'm choosing to reveal my porn identity to the world. My name is Belle Knox, and I wear my scarlet letter with pride. She's not going to be silenced, and she's proud of what she does. And I don't think there's anything wrong with what she does. Do you?
I don't think there's anything wrong with what she does, but I'm willing to leave open that I am wrong about that, and there really is something wrong with porn.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so on one hand, you don't think there's anything wrong with what she does. On the other hand, you think there's something wrong with porn. Isn't that a contradiction?
That would be a contradiction, but I just said that it's not something that I think about a whole lot, and it's not something that from the woman's side, I don't know anything about it, and I'm saying that there could be something wrong with porn, but I couldn't tell you right now what it might be.
Well, I'm sure that, in any industry, you're going to have a range of experiences, right? You're going to have the experience of kind of the cracked out porn star who will do anything for money that they need to get fix with their drug habit, all the way on up to people who are respectable and they won't take certain roles and they're choosy about the kind of work that they do. So I imagine there's the whole gamut of experiences in that range, right? So we don't know what her experience has been, but she seems relatively well adjusted. She seems healthy. She seems proud of what she's doing. She's certainly not hiding it now. And the only reason why she would have hid it in the first place is because of people who have been threatening her. That she knows that if people know who she is and know what her career is, that she could encounter some really creepy and or scary guys.
Yeah. Another way of putting what I was trying to say is there are men and women who are more or less sexual than other people. There are women who love sex in every, just about every way. They like sex with themselves. They like sex with other men. They like sex with other women.
Sure.
They just really enjoy it more than their peers. And so I don't think
her Twitter describes her as a nymphomaniac.
There you go, a nymphomaniac. And I don't see anything wrong with somebody taking their passion and running with it, earning a living off of it, sharing their joy with others.
One of the comments on, I don't know which article it was, but pointed out that she's probably going to be doing better after her years in Duke than any of her cohorts in school because she's been making a decent amount of money while she's in college.
Yep. But while I say that it should be fine for somebody to go and pursue their passion, I feel like in the back of my mind, I feel like I might be doing a disservice to women because pornography is shameful and it's a dead end and you should stay away from it.
Do you really believe that?
I don't necessarily, but I don't know.
There are people who believe that. In fact, I've got an article here from theweek.com by another woman, Elizabeth Stoker, who says that sorry, Belle Knox, porn still oppresses women. So we'll share this lady's opinion here in a moment. Would like to have you share your thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Dave is in New York. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
Ian, I want you to say the words, I'm sorry.
Dave, you already called in about this, and you can't keep calling about the same topic every single night.
I want you to say the words, I'm sorry.
No. Well, I'll just recap briefly for our listeners what you're calling about, because I've actually gotten more information. And it's funny that you called during this porn topic, Dave, because from what I understand, you're a pretty big porn fan. Is that true?
I want you to say the words, I'm sorry.
So Dave is upset because he's called the show after hours. After the show is over, he will call some of the phone lines and attempt to talk to certain hosts of the program after hours. Sometimes we'll answer, sometimes we won't. And he was upset because the other night we had a little bit of fun and played some character voices on the kind of the phone lines with him, and that was posted by Dave on his own YouTube channel. So, Dave, you still haven't thanked us yet for giving you great content for your YouTube channel that hundreds of people have watched at this point. So, since you're not willing to, show a little appreciation, I don't see why I should be sorry, Dave.
You guys didn't even give me. There's no content, whatever. All I want is a formal apology because you and Daryl were rude to me the other night.
How about you apologize for calling the show after hours incessantly, Dave? How about you apologize for that, and then maybe I'll apologize.
How about you say the words, I'm sorry?
Dave, there's something that I'd like to point out. One of our listeners said that apparently the reason you had called about the websites you called about, Dave called Saturday night about a couple of sites where they're not really porn sites, but they're kind of like what they're doing is they're taking pictures of celebrities and they're taking like the heads from the celebrity and transposing them onto pornography photos. They're forums basically, and Dave called in to speak the names of those websites, and one of them has, the B word in it, and he kept saying that over and over again, and I was a little uncomfortable with him doing that, but it was also uncomfortable. But isn't it true, Dave? Hold that thought, Dave. I'm just going to put you on hold for a moment here because you're yelling. But isn't it true, Dave, that you actually are a member of at least one of those sites and that you went on that site and posted a picture of your ex-girlfriend asking for people to make porn pictures out of her? Isn't that true?
No, that is not true. And you even said the B word tonight on the air tonight. You said the B word tonight on the air. You said the full B word.
That's because I'm a professional, Dave.
You said it because we're talking about porn. You said the full B word.
Yeah.
And the other night when we were off the air, you and Daryl were poking fun.
Dave, who was it that posted the picture of your girlfriend on this porn site?
I want you to say the words.
I just want to know the truth,
sorry.
Dave. What's the truth?
I want to hear the words. If you don't say the words, I'm sorry, have fun driving home on four flat tires.
Okay, Dave, you have a nice day. 855 450 free. That's not very nice to threaten people, and I don't appreciate that. There's more coming up. You can take control here at 855 450 free, and you can bring up whatever you want. We'll continue in moments. We've got Skype as well. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. It's a good thing I don't have to drive home, huh, Jonny Ray?
Yeah.
More coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
That's the sound of your door being kicked in by an intruder with a single kick. Criminals know that your doors are weak and your alarm system can't keep them out. That's the sound of the same door, now protected by the Door Sentinel. Standard locks, deadbolts, and alarm systems can't prevent forced entry. Harden your door and door jamb with the Door Sentinel. Go to mysafedoor.com. That's mysafedoor.com and enter coupon code SAFE for 15% off of your order. The Door Sentinel, your home's first line of defense.
Does advertising on the Genesis Communications radio network actually bring positive results? Let's ask
Thomas Baldrick from Freeze Dry Guy.
And do the GCN listeners, they heard your ad?
Customers do let us know they've heard Freeze Dry Guy ads on GCN. They seem to be very loyal listeners to GCN, and they stay with those shows, and subsequently they stay with our business too.
Looking for positive results? Contact Lee Wickenhauser at 877-996-4327, extension 107.
Negotiation isn't just something union leaders and sports agents do. Your entire day is a series of negotiations. If you have young children, you know that. In fact, your kids can teach you a lot about negotiating with grown-ups. According to the world's greatest negotiator, Herb Cohen, author of You Can Negotiate Anything. Herb says that kids understand the process of decision-making within an organization. When one parent says no, they'll ask the other. And Cohen says children persist and persevere. And like smart negotiators of all ages, kids know that no is an opening bargaining position. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
We're talking about the immigration situation here in this country. Now, Jeff, you have a 5-point plan. I'd like for you to go over the 5 points again.
Oh, sure. Hold on. I just got to turn to the page.
That's fine. And if you, he's got pages worth of notes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Number 1, close the borders. Put up a barrier on the border. And I mean, a barrier.
Like a Great Wall?
Yeah, a Great Wall, barrier, stone wall.
Right.
I mean, something that's secure. And then you put a moat underneath.
Holy crap. Alligators in the moat?
All right, now you've got more though, right? We got a wall and a moat, and then what?
You can put sensors on there. The motion detector.
Motion tracking machine guns too. Spit out some 50 cals at them if it moves.
Ninjas. That's what we need. We just need ninjas mounted at 10-foot intervals along this wall.
The border ninjas.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want here toll free. You don't have to talk about the porn star Belle Knox and her being outed by a ridiculous individual at Duke University and what has happened as a result of that. Sort of led into a larger conversation about pornography and how people feel about that, and the kind of the contradictions that people have, the hypocrisy even that people have about that. On one hand, they want to consume the porn. On the other hand, they want to shame the people who perform it. That's what Belle Knox had to say in her essay that we shared with you a moment ago. And we'll continue to take your calls and thoughts here. We do have Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm, so feel free to reach out to us there. And our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE at coffee.freetalklive.com. You can get a free pound of the best coffee, BuzzBox. It's shade-grown, 100% organic, and top 1% Arabica grade. It is competitively priced with other high-end coffees, but BuzzBox does something different, something other coffee producers don't seem to care about. They actually set up a program that allows people around the world to buy into their coffee co-op, and they're helping with microloans. They're financing 100 microloans if we can get 1,000 Free Talk Live listeners to order their coffee from coffee.freetalklive.com. You can help us change lives by offering people in poverty an opportunity to change their own lives. Get started now. Get your free pound of coffee at coffee.freetalklive.com. You just pay the shipping charge, and you can cancel the subscription anytime. That's coffee.freetalklive.com. We go to the phones and to the fun. Billy is listening in Jonny Ray's hometown of Asheville, North Carolina. Billy, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, that last guy, I hope he knows that kids are actually listening to this show and that he needs to watch what he says, because you actually have to deal with that, and do you deal with that daily basis, or is that just once in a blue moon that happens to you?
Are you talking about Dave, who called in and threatened to slash my tires a moment ago?
Yeah, I'll call the police.
No, I'm not going to call the police. I'm not really concerned, and I try not to call the police if I can avoid it. But, if you have to call the police, if you feel like there's some sort of threatening thing that they can help you with, I guess you should, because there aren't any other real protection agencies out there. But that's another issue entirely. No, thankfully, here on Free Talk Live, despite the controversial positions that are taken on the air, we really don't get much in the way of hate mail or threatening calls or anything like that. Really, it's mostly just Dave recently, and, he's a little unbalanced in some ways. He's got his own YouTube channel, and he's very, very angry. He's an angry man, and he's angry at a lot of the experiences that he's had on the internet. But most of those experiences he's created for himself, it appears.
Right.
So thankfully, no, we don't really have to deal with that very often.
And I also would like to share, I want to be a radio talk show host. I've brought up before, but I'm really dedicating myself to it. I already have it planned out. So thank you very much for inspiring me.
Sure. And how old are you, Billy?
13.
Good luck with your radio talk show
Billy,
career.
where do you go to school?
Irwin Middle.
Oh, okay. Irwin.
You know it, Jonny Ray?
Yeah. Irwin is the what's the mascot? The Chiefs or the Braves?
It's an Indian.
Yeah, there's a big Indian on the hill.
Warrior.
There you go.
You live in North Carolina?
Yeah, I lived in Asheville. I grew up in Asheville. I went to Hill Street Middle School and Asheville Junior High School and Asheville High School, and then I joined the Marine Corps, and then I wound up in New Hampshire with Free Talk Live.
It's a small world, Billy. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you at 855-450-FREE. Let's go and continue with your calls. But first, let's see. Skype, by the way. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We've got Adam on the line. Adam in Maryland. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys.
Hey, go ahead with your thoughts.
Did you guys talk about that the other Duke sex scandals that happened?
Other ones. No, we've been talking about
lacrosse players?
The Belle Knox situation tonight. What's the other one?
There were two other ones. The lacrosse rape scandal. And then there was, I think there was one with some girl who did a PowerPoint presentation about her sexcapades.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting how all this happens with Duke. I want to tell you.
Well, they're just getting the press. I mean, college students are having sex everywhere. It's just that Duke's been getting press for it, I guess, recently.
Yeah, I guess because it's an Ivy League, right?
I believe it is. Yep. A fancy school.
If not, it's just it's a big sports school, so I know that they're up there in name. Hey, congrats on becoming number 42, by the way.
Oh, thanks. You're referring to the Talkers Top 100, the Heavy 100, as it's called in the Business Talkers magazine. Puts it out on a yearly basis. We've been in it for the last several years now and have been rising steadily through the ranks up to number 42. Last year in 2013, we were number 47, so we rose 5 positions this year, and I'm very, very happy about that. So thank you to everybody who listens to Free Talk Live, and of course, big thanks to all the great radio stations that carry us from coast to coast and beyond. Adam, what else did you want to share tonight? Did you have any comments on the Belle Knox situation?
Yeah, I don't know how many teenage women are in the porn industry. My guess is hundreds, maybe thousands worldwide. But only a handful of them can call themselves actual porn stars. It's kind of like that name supermodel. Like, some people like to actually say it, but there aren't really that many
So
women
what separates a porn actress from a porn star?
I would say somebody like Ron Jeremy, like a name that everybody knows because
Like a
they've been in
legend.
the mainstream.
Yeah, but Ron Jeremy is an unusual case, right? I mean, how many porn stars are actually known by everybody? I mean, that's not. Probably there's people out there who don't know who Ron Jeremy is, and Ron Jeremy, as I understand it, did a lot back in the 70s and 80s. He appears in mainstream movies these days because he has become sort of more of a pop culture icon than a porn. He's certainly not a porn star today, or I don't know. Maybe he is still doing work. I have no idea. But, I mean, how many people like that can you name? Ron Jeremy, Tracy Lords. I mean, that's about it for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that they get mainstream exposure. It's so rare that the mainstream media even talks about that part of the industry.
So that's to you what makes a porn star, is if they get a mainstream media news story about them?
Not necessarily, but if their name is so well known that then they get a lot of work in the industry, and then what I've said before is, you know, if your name is more well known like hers is now, because I mean she's been on CNN, she's been on some Huffington Post. I mean, at her level, I think she's 18 or 19. At her level, you can't buy the kind of marketing that she's gotten because of being outed, quote unquote, by this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make a persuasive point there. I guess there should be probably a differentiation between someone who acts in porn and someone who is a porn star. But I don't know if it's necessarily mainstream exposure because, again, porn stars are still pretty obscure. Most of them don't make it into the mainstream. And you would think that, at least in the porn world, people who've starred in hundreds of videos, there's probably got to be a number of videos in which you can star in which you appear before you become a star. I mean, at some point, if you've been in so many, if you've been in 1,000 movies, and they do tend to produce these porn movies fairly prolifically. There's a lot of them. They have short production runs, and so it's fairly easy for a porn actor or actress to crank out, dozens of films in a year. So there must be a certain point at which, barring mainstream exposure, that you've just been around the industry long enough to where you are recognizable by at least porn consumers.
I think porn star basically means porn actress now.
Well, they tend to be used interchangeably, and that's how I was using them, but Adam's making a case that they shouldn't be.
Oh, he wants to change the world.
Adam, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Ian, while we're talking about porn, I want to drill right down to the fundamentals. I want to ask you a very important question, and that question is, do you prefer boobs or buns?
I don't know. I don't really have a preference there.
You've been called asexual before.
Yeah, that's not true. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I certainly have not had the same level of drive that basically all the ladies in my life have. They've always been more into sex than I have. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. You can take control here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our Skype is username LRN.FM. More coming up here about the Belle Knox situation with one of the critics. We'll share their story here in a moment. It's Free Talk Live.
I want to share something important that will not only improve your life, but the lives of many others as well. And all you need to do is drink coffee. I'm not talking about harmful store-bought or chain coffee. No, this is truly the best of the best coffee. We've partnered with Camano Island Coffee Roasters to offer BuzzBox. With every purchase, 10% goes towards our efforts to give the gift of human freedom by providing at least 100 microfinance loans via World Vision. So literally, just one cup at a time, you're having an impact and helping make a difference in the world. And one sip will have you buzzing to family and friends. To prove just how good it is, we're giving a free pound of coffee to everyone in the audience. All you do is cover shipping. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com. BuzzBox coffee is organic, so it contains no pesticides or toxins. It's shade-grown, so less acidity and no heartburn. It's top 1% Arabica grade and gives people the opportunity to own their own coffee farms. Join us in making a huge impact at coffee.freetalklive.com.
Self-reliance, survival supplies, survival skills, national experts. Get it all at the only free-to-attend national event exclusively for preppers. This spring in Tulsa, it's the National Preppers and Survivalist Expo, a must-be-there event presented by American Living. This massive expo will include special guests, David Mays from Nat Geo's Doomsday Preppers, plus GCN's own Dr. Joel Wallach via live video conference. Hear Dr. Bones, Nurse Amy, and members of the American Prepper Network, along with many other leading national experts. Learn life-saving tips, CPR, how to handle crisis situations, walk through a bomb shelter, and much, much more. 2 big days, April 5th and 6th at the Tulsa Expo Square in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's April 5th and 6th. Doors open at 9 a.m. with absolutely free admission. Don't miss the National Preppers and Survivalists Expo, America's largest emergency preparedness event. Get your free tickets now. NPSExpo.com. That's NPSExpo.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Listen Lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Does porn make you uncomfortable, but yet at the same time you're kind of into it? There seems to be some serious hypocrisy that people are holding, some contradicting viewpoints.
Porn makes me uncomfortable. Porn makes me uncomfortable.
Do you watch it?
Porn makes me uncomfortable when I'm discussing it on a nationally syndicated radio talk show.
Mm-hmm.
But porn, when I, encounter porn just on my own, in nature, then no, it doesn't make me uncomfortable.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That is the number brought to you by ProXPN. We also have Skype. You can Skype into the show. Our username is LRN.FM. We go to Liberty Phoenix in Illinois. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Jonny Ray.
Jonny Ray, I always hate it when you guys remind me that it's nationally syndicated and I'm waiting on hold and just like, oh, yeah, thousands of people are going to hear me in a minute. Thanks for that.
Just pretend like it's me and Jonny Ray.
That's kind of how it feels.
You're welcome.
Johnny, I wanted to call in and see if you still self-identify as a Marine. I'm a Marine myself. I'm in the reserves, but can't wait to get out. And it's been difficult talking to my children about it, about why I want to be out and why I don't agree with it anymore. And they still ask me, are you still a Marine, Daddy? And I'm like, well, sweetheart, it's not really something that ever's going to go away. I mean, I kind of feel like I'll always be a Marine. Do you agree?
I guess to myself I do. I will tell people that I was a Marine. I never do say, no, do I identify as a Marine? I don't. I like the concept of once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm proud of successfully getting through Parris Island and
Is that the training area?
Parris Island is the East Coast.
That's the weaker of the two.
Parris Island is the original and best. There's two major recruit depots. There's two total.
The Marines who go to these two kind of zing at each other and kind of they square off to some extent.
To some extent,
everything.
Yeah.
Everything
is
a competition in the Corps. That's one of their little things.
So I guess what I'm saying is no. I don't say I'm a Marine. I don't consider myself to be a Marine, but I did 8 years honorably, and I got out, and so I guess I could claim the title, but I don't. I don't mind telling people that I was, but I don't really.
You don't want to own that moniker?
I don't know. I don't try to give myself an opportunity to tell people that I'm a Marine veteran. And I'm a veteran only in the sense that I was in the Marine Corps. I was in between Desert Storm and 9/11. So I was in during a time of relative peace.
Okay.
Liberty Phoenix, any other thoughts?
Why is it difficult? How is it difficult? You kind of described it, talking to your children. It seems like it should be pretty straightforward. When I tell people my feelings about the military and how I think so many people go in with the best of intentions, but it's fundamentally flawed. The Marine Corps, the way that they protect you, they have to steal your money in order to protect you from people stealing your stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the whole idea of our military protecting us I think it's a falsity. I mean, it's like saying, it's a lie. We're not protecting anyone in America. We're voluntary murderers that are sent to countries to kill brown people by corporations who bribe our politicians. It's that simple.
When you joined the Marines, Liberty Phoenix, did you feel that way?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I was wrapped up in patriotism. My father was a Marine for 26 years, and I tried joining when I was 18, and that was a whole nother story. I ended up washing out, but about 8 years later, I was sitting at a computer, wondered if I could get back in, and ended up getting in, and I just really needed a job.
So you were in the Marines, you got out, and then you went back.
No, I tried getting in the Marines.
Oh.
There's a point where it's called the moment of truth, and I actually told the truth. So then they were like, "Yeah, no, thanks, we don't want you anymore."
What does that mean?
Sounds like it's drug related.
Yeah.
I had a.
So wait, hold on. So you tried to join the Marines. You admitted to using drugs. They refused you, but then later you successfully joined.
Yep.
So they got over the whole drug thing.
Pretty much. I mean, my recruiter a second time through just was like, don't even reference it. If they don't ask about it, don't tell them. But the ironic thing was the original recruiter that I had when I tried joining the first time was actually kind of pissed off that I didn't go through and that whatever happened, he actually got investigated for fraudulent enlistment, found not guilty or whatnot. But the second time that I joined, when I'd called like 10 different recruiting offices one afternoon, and none of them answered until the 10th one. Talked to a Sergeant Wood. He put me on with another individual I told him my story, and he's like, "Are you serious? Do you have any idea who you're talking to?" I was that recruiter, and it was kind of like fate, where that's pretty much the only person that could have gotten me back into it, and that just happened to be the one person that I spoke to.
Small world.
That's
so
amazing.
How was it that you went from being a gung-ho Marine to somebody who believes that Marines are paid murderers?
Well, I always kind of felt like I was a bit of a pacifist. Like I said, I just needed a job, and I figured my father did that much time in, and he raised us pretty well, so maybe it'll work for me as well. But like I said, I'm in the reserves, so I have plenty of time to piss away. And I was sitting at the house one day, and I saw Zeitgeist, and it just completely blew my mind, and just started getting into all these different documentaries. And over the course of like 3 years, I went from holding public screenings of the Zeitgeist trilogy and doing like my local outreach with the Zeitgeist movement to watching Alex Jones, and then it just became unending search for truth to like find out like, okay, well, these people are saying this, but they have their own type of seeming agenda, and then these guys are saying this, but there's something off there as well. And then it just kind of migrated and seemed to be something that had to grow and evolve.
It sure does. That's an interesting story, and I appreciate you taking the time to share it with us, Liberty Phoenix. Are you planning on move to New Hampshire at all?
Hoping to, yeah. If I can get my kids to go up there, that's about the only thing that's keeping me from not being able to go there.
I hear it's a great place to raise a family.
well, exes can be quite difficult.
I gotcha. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. I've heard that New Hampshire is like the #1 place to raise a family.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's beautiful. The people here are neighborly. I have one last thing to say about the Marine Corps that I've always thought was kind of funny about it. When I was at Parris Island, Marine Corps history was drilled into us. And the name that we heard over and over and over and over again was Smedley Butler.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do they tell people about him?
Well, I didn't because
he wrote the book War is a Racket, where he basically calls himself a paid murderer for the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most decorated Marine that ever was.
But you would think they would want to suppress that guy. Like, the things he says are very dangerous to the power structure.
Well, he's too big. He's too big a Marine.
Not mention him. Wow.
I think he was a commandant, which is the commandant is the highest ranking Marine in the Corps.
You know, Jonny Ray, if you value your online privacy, you really need to consider ProXPN. It is a global virtual private network that allows all of your online data to be encrypted back and forth, meaning that your internet service provider, if you're using ProXPN, will have no idea what you're doing online. And right now, your ISP is probably logging every search that you enter, every website you visit. So let's say you are
I'm looking
a porn
for Smedley
site.
Butler right now.
Let's say you're a porn site frequenter. We've been talking about porn on the show tonight. If you frequent porn websites and you don't want people to know about that, use ProXPN. They will protect your privacy. They'll protect you because they don't log the websites that you go and visit. They don't log the searches that you enter, unlike your current internet service provider probably is holding that information. They're probably holding it for 5 years. ProXPN doesn't keep that info at all. ProXPN.com/FTL. You can go there, get started with their free account, and then use our discount code when you're ready to upgrade to the premium account. With the premium account, you get unlimited bandwidth. You can connect to websites that are not websites. You can connect to the ProXPN servers at different places in the world, and you can get this deal for $5 a month by using our discount code FTL20. That gets you 20% off the price of the premium account. You can buy a yearly subscription. You can do it monthly if you want, but if you want to get the best price, buy it yearly, and you'll save 20%, meaning the price will be $5 a month. For ProXPN. It's great privacy protection. Go learn more at proxpn.com/FTL. Grab the app, get it installed. Windows, Macintosh, iOS, Android. There's even instructions for Linux. So proxpn.com/FTL. Promo code FTL20. We continue with hour number 3 on the way. Let's read the story here from the feminist critics of porn star Belle Knox. Free Talk Live.
Quantum vibe. It's year 2523. There are colonies on Venus, Mars, and Mercury. People travel in bubbles, fly at hyperspeed, with brain implants and artificial gravity. A scientific genius and his clever assistant set out on an adventure through the solar system on a secret mission to find the key to access new frontiers and save liberty. QuantumVibe.com from Big Head Press.
Here's something you don't hear on the radio every day. Someone who can't see. I am totally blind, and I go through periods where I'm unable to sleep at night and feel like I'm constantly running but can never quite catch up. But this isn't a sleep problem. It's something called non-24. Learn about the link between total blindness and your symptoms. Visit learnmorenon24.com or call 855-856-2424.
Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
Are you looking for camping, hunting, survival, or shooting gear? ManVentureOutpost.com carries the name brands you want at the lowest prices. Ammunition, knives, firearm accessories, archery, air guns, scopes, binoculars, laser sights, tactical flashlights, fish finders, and boating equipment. ManVentureOutpost.com is family-owned and has the lowest prices. Go check it for yourself. Get it quick. Get it from ManVentureOutpost.com.
Now buy firearms at ManVentureOutpost.com. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Radio VR.
Good morning and welcome to Radio VR. We're broadcasting live from Washington, D.C. and around the world on voiceofrussia.com. I'm Kate Zickel.
And I'm Rick Young. Today is Tuesday, March 11th, 2014. Here's the news.
Radio VR News.
The mystery deepens regarding the Malaysian jetliner that has vanished over open water. It is now day 4 of the search. As correspondent Scott Meyerowitz acknowledges, it's hard to accept that a plane flying from Malaysia to China could still be missing. Malaysian police say one passenger using a stolen passport was a 19-year-old Iranian seeking asylum, but ruled him out as a suspect.
You drive your car and you know through GPS exactly where you are, even if you're in the middle of the desert. So it's a little disheartening for members of the public to be just out here not knowing what's going on with the plane. But in reality, it sometimes takes us a few days to piece together all the pieces.
Women in the Senate led the fight as lawmakers voted 97-0 Monday for legislation that would force half a dozen major changes on a military struggling with a pervasive sex assault problem in the ranks. Meantime, correspondent Michael Biesecker reports a military judge says there is evidence that political considerations influenced the military's decision not to allow Brigadier General Jeffrey Sinclair to plead guilty to some lesser charges in exchange for the Army dropping sexual assault charges against him.
Where the judge says they went wrong is considering whether there was a greater impact than just this case to accepting the plea deal, whether, as the accuser's attorney argued in a letter that the commanding general read, that this would impede the ability to prosecute other sexual assault cases, and whether this would hurt women in the future who came forward making sexual assault accusations.
It's been an all-nighter for the Senate as Democrats talk about the need to do something about climate change. Question is, what? No one's quite sure. Correspondent Jerry Borlander reports.
Democrats touted the all-night talkathon as a wake-up call for the need to confront global warming. Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz called it the challenge for this generation.
The public is with us, independents, Democrats, and Republicans.
But Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions said a climate bill couldn't pass.
A lot of his Democratic colleagues, I would suggest, don't want to vote on it.
Several Democrats who face tough re-election fights this fall didn't take part in the talkathon. Jerry Bodlander, Capitol Hill.
The Navy Admiral tapped to head the NSA is relaying concerns about proposed changes. Correspondent Mike Gracia has the details.
Vice Admiral Mike Rogers is expressing concerns about turning over telephone data collected by the U.S. government to an independent third party. In answers to a questionnaire submitted to the Senate Armed Services Committee, Rogers, who's the nominee to be the next head of the National Security Agency, says third-party storage could delay the ability to identify potential threats. He also says it could result in higher costs. The document was obtained by the AP. The Senate panel is scheduled to hold a hearing on Rogers' nomination Tuesday. Mike Gracia, Washington.
The man some say forced a change in NSA leadership explains why he leaked classified information. Former contractor and accused leaker Edward Snowden states why he went public at a national media conference. Correspondent Tim McGuire has more.
In his online video conference, Edward Snowden tells a crowd at the South by Southwest Interactive Festival that he couldn't stay quiet about the NSA surveillance program.
I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and I saw that the Constitution was violated on a massive scale.
This is the first public appearance by Snowden since he found temporary asylum in Moscow. He faces a number of felony charges in the U.S. after revealing the surveillance program by leaking thousands of classified documents to media outlets. I'm Tim McGuire.
In health news, it's not just grandma with a new hip or your uncle with a new knee. Doctors are reporting more than 2 of every 100 Americans now have an artificial joint. Correspondent Ross Simpson explains why.
Roughly 7 million people in the U.S. are living with a total hip or knee replacement. Among people over 50, it's even more common. More than 600,000 knees and about 400,000 hips are replaced each year. But until now, there haven't been good numbers on how many people currently are living with new joints. The number is expected to grow as the population ages, and that's going to raise questions about cost, how long the new parts will last, and how best to replace the replacements as they wear out over time. I'm Ross Simpson.
And that's the news for Radio VR in Washington. I'm Kate Zickel.
And I'm Rick Young.
Everyone in Pennington is talking about it. Something smells like weed in that back part of the library. Head librarian Cookie Stevens and library volunteers Margaret Mosier and Gail Fredericks were in the middle of discussing the upcoming used book saleganza when they smelled something strange.
So when Doug said he smelled marijuana somewhere, and we're like shocked. Yeah. And so Doug goes, "Do you smell it?"
Without any way to confirm that the smell was indeed weed, Cookie Stevens called her husband, Sheriff Stevens, who called in local ceramics teacher Dutch Gibbs, who lived in Seattle for a few months in the 70s.
Yeah, that's weed.
Sheriff Stevens has begun compiling a list of potential suspects, including that boy Lance, who has girl hair and hangs out down by the quarry, Greg Fromke, who was spotted this evening really going to town on some potato skins at Steaky Jake's Steakhouse, and Mr. Thompson. Luckily, one young reading enthusiast seemed unperturbed by the illicit smell.
Yeah, I don't smell anything. I really love the library.
The weed smell comes on the heels of last month's discovery of a gigantic pair of women's underpants in the children's fiction section. According to Stevens, that case remains open as well.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of the program. The we tonight includes me, Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
Jonny Ray's got his game of the week still to come here tonight. We've been talking on and off about Belle Knox. She is a porn star, and someone argued there's a difference between a porn star and a porn actress. She is definitely, I think, in the realm of porn star at this point. She's had a huge amount of publicity that has happened for her over the last week or so. And it's largely due to something she didn't really want to have happen, which was this college Toolbag that goes to school at Duke University outed her publicly as a porn actress, and she's since then received all manner of threats and just general nastiness from some people. But, of course, on the other hand, has received a whole lot of, I imagine, Twitter followers. She's got over 28,000 Twitter followers at the moment. And I imagine her videos have been viewed more often as a result of this. So on one hand, it's probably been very, very good for her career. On the other hand, her real identity has been revealed, and that has put her in some level of danger. We've talked about some of the frustrations that she's been experiencing. We read one of her blog posts about this, where she sort of came out with her real personality. And so you're welcome to share your thoughts, 855-450-FREE. There are obviously a lot of critics of this young lady. One of them is a writer for TheWeek.com. Elizabeth Stoker is her name. The title of the article, "Sorry, Belle Knox, Porn Still Oppresses Women." In what may be one of the splashiest media sagas of the year, a Duke University freshman has revealed her secret porn performer persona after being outed to her classmates by an insensitive male friend earlier in February. The student, I wouldn't call him her friend, by the way, now known by her stage name, Belle Knox, has vociferously defended herself through editorials submitted to the feminist website XOJane, and has enjoyed a great deal of support from sex-positive quarters, though not without a good amount of admonition from sources both within Duke and on the web at large. Of course, a good chunk of the criticism Knox has received has been of the reprehensible and personal sort, including threats and harassing messages sent through social media. These attacks are, of course, odious and inexcusable, and no amount of disagreement with Knox's message can justify them. This kind of behavior is not only harmful, but disproportionately aimed at women in the public sphere. That having been said, Knox's agenda is misguided. Knox, a self-described libertarian with reluctant GOP affiliations, there's a Reason.com article about that. We can talk about that here in a moment, believes that performing in porn is a direct affront to the patriarchy, the term she uses for general, systematized, and institutionalized oppression of women. According to Knox, she says, "We deem to keep women in a place where they're subjected to male sexuality. We seek to rob them of their choice and of their autonomy. We want to oppress them and keep them dependent on the patriarchy. A woman who transgresses the norm and takes ownership of her body, because that's exactly what porn is, no matter how rough the sex is, ostensibly poses a threat to the deeply ingrained gender norms that polarize our society."
I think she's really got something there talking about the patriarchy. As I think about human development, I think about how we're evolving out of meat space being so important, or not really that, but the physical power of someone being less important in how easily they're going to be able to make their way through the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hundreds, thousands of years ago, and really throughout human civilization, the size of your muscles has determined how well you're going to do in a fight, basically. Sure. And that's why I'm such a fan of lethal weaponry, because it's a great equalizer. A little old lady becomes just as lethal as some meathead.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, so there has been an equalizing factor over the last several hundred years.
And men are bigger than women, and men are physically stronger than women. And that's just colored so much of human history, and I think that technology is bringing us out of that world and into a new one, and that's interesting. And I like that the patriarchy is
under attack.
Is under attack.
Well, this lady says here at the Week that again, what I was giving you was a quote from Belle Knox. The lady writing the article disagrees. She goes on. She says, Knox's mission, in other words, is to attack the oppression of women by intentionally flouting sexual norms, such as the expectation of some level of modesty or exclusivity in partners. But does that actually undermine patriarchy? I doubt it, she says. It's notable, for instance, that the major media venues who are now airing Knox's feminist editorial are only doing so because she's a curious sexual tabloid spread. That women's bodies are easily marketed is no strike against the patriarchy, and that a woman can get attention for her political views only after appealing to male sexual desire certainly doesn't seem to indicate any serious move in the direction of equality. But let's leave aside whether this theoretically breaks the barriers of sexuality and focus on a side of porn that has gotten far less attention in this debate. What material do good women gain from the porn industry? At the performer level, porn is a notoriously treacherous place to make a career. While female performers might make more than their male counterparts, that's generally true, most of them just don't get paid that well, thanks in part to the rise of piracy, cam sites, and the glut of material online. And dwindling profits means not only pay cuts for performers, but an increased willingness to jockey to meet the demands of a mostly male audience. This competition has two major negative outcomes for Knox's anti-patriarchal project. First, it means that male consumers dictate the terms of what's depicted. As a result, male desire impacts the work and health of performers. For example, in 2012, a study found that porn performers in LA had higher rates of STIs than prostitutes working in Nevada.
I guess that's a sexually transmitted
illness or an infection or something like that. The study authors chalked the prevalence of infections up to the reluctance of studios to enforce condom use because visible condoms aren't arousing. In other words, the industry drive to respond to male sexual desire could well be the reason performers like Knox are in danger of contracting life-threatening illnesses like HIV. Is this what buckling the patriarchy looks like? Now, we can go on here with her statements, but it's certainly possible, by the way, that there are women who also like sex without a condom. So I think the conclusion that's been jumped to here is that, men don't want to have sex with condoms on, so therefore this is, enforcing the patriarchy because men are desiring, this, et cetera, et cetera. Well, if Belle Knox or whichever porn actresses we're talking about, if they don't want to have sex with condoms on, then they won't have sex with condoms on. But if they demand it, then that can be part of their contract. It certainly has been done in porn that people have worn condoms in porn. I've seen that happen. Admittedly, it doesn't happen. It likely does not happen very, very often. And maybe they are, they're pandering to the male consumer. But on the other hand, I can understand where the argument comes from that this is not an attack against the patriarchy. But on the other hand, these women are profiting from pandering to those males. And if, I'm sure a lot of them look at them as desperate, poor bastards. But who knows? I mean, who knows what their opinions are of the porn consumers? I imagine there's quite the variety of porn consumers out there. And if you can profit from the males in society and sort of take advantage of their desperation, then how does that promote the patriarchy? I think there's different arguments to be made here.
Yeah, she's earning money, but she's at facialabuse.com.
I don't know. That wasn't made clear. You're talking about a website that actually offered her outer. So the Toolbag college student who outed her,
right?
They offered him $10,000 to appear in a porn. They claimed he was spending $1,000 a month on their website. So what it sounds like to me was this guy his name was put out there, and somebody did a search who was running a porn site and found him as a customer. I don't know if it's really clear that she's on that site or not. I don't know.
Well, what I'm getting at is that that pornography can be really effective. Men like to see women being degraded, and that's what the facials
a lot of
are
that
all
is
about.
In porn, yeah.
Men like to see a beautiful porcelain doll, turned into
it's
something
true that
less pristine than that.
It's true that a lot of men probably enjoy that, but I don't know if you can make a statement that all men do.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and be general and say that men like to see beautiful women pushed down and facialed.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That is the ProXPN toll-free line. You can share your thoughts here. Is being in pornography pandering to the patriarchy? Are you just being part of it, or is it a fight of it?
I want to share something important that will not only improve your life, but the lives of many others as well. And all you need to do is drink coffee. I'm not talking about harmful store-bought or chain coffee. No, this is truly the best of the best coffee. We've partnered with Camano Island Coffee Roasters to offer BuzzBox. With every purchase, 10% goes towards our efforts to give the gift of human freedom by providing at least 100 microfinance loans via World Vision. So literally, just one cup at a time, you're having an impact and helping make a difference in the world. And one sip will have you buzzing to family and friends. To prove just how good it is, we're giving a free pound of coffee to everyone in the audience. All you do is cover shipping. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com. BuzzBox coffee is organic, so it contains no pesticides or toxins. It's shade-grown, so less acidity and no heartburn. It's top 1% Arabica grade and gives people the opportunity to own their own coffee farms. Join us in making a huge impact at coffee.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge, host of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the very economic engine that powers this country. With a printing press tethered to Washington politicians, bureaucrats, and central bankers, how can we put our trust in paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Come see gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold. With Washington, D.C. delivering more debt and printed promises, common sense tells us the future of the trend is obvious. Everyone listening should visit gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938. I trust Midas Resources for my gold, silver, platinum, and you can too. Again, I want you to have this book, and it's free. It's gold.freetalklive.com or 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
Calling all makeup lovers. Bare Minerals Foundation just won its 9th Glammy Award for Best Prestige Foundation. And to celebrate, we're offering risk-free trials to all women nationwide. That's right. Every woman who calls right now can get a full-size risk-free trial of our #1 selling foundation. Plus, a free 5-piece makeup set. For yours, call 1-800-961-4764. This is an exclusive, radio-only offer you don't want to miss. Bare Minerals Foundation gives you flawlessly beautiful coverage with a no-makeup feel. And it's clinically proven to promote clearer, healthier-looking skin for all skin types. No wonder it's won 9 Glammys in a row. And now you can try it for yourself. Call now to find out how you can participate in our nationwide risk-free trial and join the millions who've already tried Bare Minerals Foundation and fallen in love with their skin again. Plus, we'll send you a free 5-piece makeup set, our gift to you. Hurry, don't miss this exclusive radio-only offer. 1-800-961-4764. 1-800-961-4764.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. MineThings.com is a fun online game that pits you against people around the world to mine for scarce resources. Do business in a capitalist economy with virtually mined gold, tax-free. It doesn't require a big time commitment. Your little mining robot guy works whether you're logged in or not. It costs nothing to play, but you can buy bonuses. They even accept bitcoins. Go to MineThings.com, use coupon code FTL, and double your mining speed. It's free. MineThings.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm. Be free.
Free Talk Live, take control of the airwaves here, toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Does pornography, the working in pornography as a woman, does it attack the patriarchy or does it actually support the patriarchy? Belle Knox, the porn star who's been making headlines recently after having been outed by some jerk who went to school with her at Duke University, she's taking the position that her starring in pornography is an attack against the patriarchy, that she's doing what she wants with her own body, and that she's not being told what to do, and that she's not being owned by anyone. But on the other hand, a lady over at theweek.com says the opposite is true, and she's making her case that porn is still oppressive to women. Sorry, Belle Knox is the name of the article. We'll continue her points here in a moment. I want to tell you about the what may be the most important Bitcoin site on the internet. It is blockchain.info. They've got a legion of tools that include the best online Bitcoin wallet. It can interface with an Android app. Unfortunately, if you've got an iPhone, there's no app for you because Apple pulled the blockchain app. But you can still use your web browser. So if you don't have an Android phone, just use your favorite web browser and browse over to blockchain.info. It makes it easy to send and receive Bitcoins to anybody anywhere in the world. Plus, thanks to their encryption techniques at blockchain.info, which encrypts and decrypts your wallet information in the browser, the FBI and the NSA don't have access to your money. In fact, if you're careful, they can't even know how much money you're sending or receiving, because blockchain.info's wallet also has tools to easily send or receive your Bitcoins anonymously. So join millions of other Bitcoin users and get your free Bitcoin wallet today at blockchain.info. That's blockchain.info. We're talking about the story of Belle Knox, the lady who is a college freshman. She's working as a porn star. She's been outed recently and has felt some real heat by some hypocrites who've been attacking her while at the same time probably consuming pornography. So they've been going after her, they've threatened her, and we shared her story earlier tonight. Now I'm sharing one of the critics of Ms. Knox, and the critic is, in this case, a she as well, Elizabeth Stoker, writing over at theweek.com, claiming that Knox isn't, in fact, attacking the patriarchy or bucking the system. She's, in point of fact, supporting it by pandering to the desires of men, she says. And her second point here is that porn doesn't feature the kind of workplace a woman, or for that matter a man, should want to join. While one could imagine building protections within the industry against unsafe sex practices, that's a difficult task in the absence of any labor union, as porn performer Jenna Jameson has noted. It's unclear to me how working without any collective bargaining power in an unsafe industry is a helpful move for women. Now, I don't mean to imply that Knox is secretly unhappy in her niche, but many women are surely suffering in a low-paying industry with little control over working conditions that pose significant threats to their long-term health.
You never have control over your own working conditions unless you're your own boss.
Well, sure you do. You have control by not taking the job in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, and I sympathize or empathize. Mm-hmm. I see where this lady's coming from with respect to fighting the patriarchy and whether you are or you aren't, but she is just making her own decision. She's come to this. She has consented to it.
You're talking about Belle Knox?
Yes, Belle Knox. And I don't like to really argue any much further than that. If that's what she wants to do, she can do it, and maybe she'll learn some lessons from it. Maybe she'll regret it later.
Maybe. There are dangerous careers in life. I mean, Jonny Ray, you clean things for a living, and you're around caustic chemicals.
Oh, brother, I dropped my phone into a bucket of stripper.
Ow.
I know it's done for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that case, it's just your phone. But, I mean, you could in some way harm yourself.
I could drop my face into a bucket of stripper.
As someone who is a cleaning professional. And certainly there are more dangerous jobs out there. Garbage man is a very dangerous job. Longshoreman. There's all kinds of dangerous professions. Linemen. I mean, there's all kinds of professions that have risks associated with it.
Yeah, you can paint a horror story about any industry.
Right. So, some people have to take those jobs. And I guess you could argue that no one has to take the jobs in pornography. But the fact is, there are those jobs out there. And as long as jobs are out there that involve risk and are paid concomitant to that risk, then there will be people who are willing to take those positions. And while she at one point says here in this paragraph that porn doesn't feature the kind of workplace a woman or, for that matter, a man should want to join. She kind of gives a hat tip to men out there, but then goes on in the rest of the paragraph saying that, oh, this is so terrible for women. Well, if it's dangerous for women in porn, it's as dangerous for men in porn. If there's sexually transmitted diseases that are going around in the porn business, then it's as risky, in my opinion, for a man in pornography as it is for a woman.
Yeah, in that respect, it is.
And again, anybody who's in this business or in any business can decide how far they're willing to go. If you're not willing to fulfill certain aspects of a role, and there are some roles that are more degrading than others. Jonny Ray, you talked about how some men you said all men, like to see a woman degraded. Some roles are far more degrading than others. There are certain types of porn that have to do with very, very explicit degradation, violence, urination, all kinds of just nasty stuff. And there's a lot of people in the porn business who say no. Oh, you want me to do that? Well, it's not like they just show up on set and whatever happens, happens. They're told in advance, hey, look, if you're going to take this job, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z, and then maybe Q. So they know in advance. They know what they're getting into. It's not like they don't realize sexually transmitted diseases are a risk here.
Yeah. The barriers to entry for a woman to get into porn are I'm gonna argue for a second that they're very low. You need to be an effective female porn star. You need to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You probably need to enjoy sex, and you don't really need to be a good actress.
It helps to be pretty, although I'm sure there's ugly porn as well. I mean, there's all kinds of porn out there.
I suspect there is, but also for the great mass of men,
helps to be young.
The right hair and makeup will make any woman pretty.
There's granny porn as well out there, but it just generally does help to be younger and prettier, I think, to get into pornography. So I don't know if I would agree with you that the bar is particularly low.
Well,
you also have to be willing to do certain things that are undesirable for a lot of people.
Yeah, you need to have lowered inhibitions in that regard, and that's where I think that's where the truth of all this stuff is what makes those inhibitions cause women to say no, I'm not going to do that, and that's something unfortunately I can't speak to.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their thing, Everybody's got certain things that make them feel uncomfortable and other things with which they're comfortable. Some people may feel more comfortable with something if they get paid enough to do it. And at a certain level of pay, it would not be comfortable enough. They would not be willing to do that. So back to the opinion piece here from the week by the critic of Belle Knox. The obvious retort is that while material conditions of porn performers might leave something to be desired, the work of porn performers helps non-performing women at large by challenging gender roles. This is heavily disputed, of course, with many women expressing concern that readily available porn imbues young men with disastrously misguided expectations of women's bodies and committed sexuality. But it's difficult to imagine, even in that case, how porn really changes gender roles. We can talk more about that here in moments. 855-450-FREE. I don't know if I agree that porn changes gender roles. I think that's a pretty big claim to make, but we'll see. We'll get into it a little bit further here and take your calls and thoughts about what you want. It's Free Talk Live.
Question: could too many GMO foods and toxins be overloading your digestive and immune systems? Answer: yes. If you're searching for a powerful detox that's gentle enough to use every day, use Pro-EM1 from Terraganics. Pro-EM1 is a powerful liquid probiotic that uses good bacteria to suppress pathogens and gently eliminate toxins from your body. A healthy digestive system will cleanse and remove toxins, support weight loss, improve absorption of food nutrients, and aid in controlling yeast and other infections. Pro EM1 is made with only non-GMO and certified organic ingredients, has no preservatives, and is dairy, soy, wheat, and gluten-free. Pro EM1 is the key to your digestive health. Order Pro EM1 Daily Probiotic Cleanse at TerraGanix.com, spelled TerraGanix.com, or call toll-free 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Also available through Amazon Prime. Pro EM1 from TerraGanix. Life's getting better.
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary at fpp.cc, as well as weekly news in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com. The monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc and books at shop.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges. Start a conversation with your neighbor or your doctor or your family or your school. Now there's teachers and lawyers and business executives, and they all wear shiny badges and they all reject the state. Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges. Show the world that you reject coercion and aggression and oppression by the state. ShinyBadges.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Good morning. Later this afternoon, I will be engaging in an extramarital affair. Of course, I will wish that I had never made the horrible mistake I'm about to spend several hours making, but sadly, I'm currently too blinded by greed and lust to care about or consider the consequences of my actions. The liaison I will be taking part in shortly with two poor deaf teenage runaways is in direct opposition to the values you elected me to uphold. I also wish to apologize to my wife, Linda, to my two beautiful children, Allison and Christopher. It hurts me more than you will ever know that this scandal will impact your life so terribly. I can only pray that the revelations you will soon hear concerning my fetishes, physical flexibility, and penis will not scar you to the point of dementia. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get to the hotel immediately, so I will not be taking questions. Thank you.
This is the Onion News Network.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free. This is Free Talk Live, and we'll take your calls about whatever you want. Just dial in toll-free here to 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about pornography. Does it, and ladies' performances in pornography, does that boost the patriarchy, or is it actually a strike against it? That's the question, or I guess not really the question. I guess that's kind of the question we're discussing. The article we're reading at the moment is saying that it's actually boosting the patriarchy, that it is not empowering women. TheWeek.com is where the story is coming from. The lady who's writing this is a critic of Ms. Belle Knox, and we talked about Belle earlier in the show tonight. Belle is a porn performer and now arguably porn star who has been propelled to prominence by something she didn't really intend to have happen. She had someone in Duke University that she was going to school with who outed her, some frat boy, outed her publicly, and she's been experiencing some pretty nasty lashback from some awful people, some hypocrites, but at the same time, it's obviously been good for her career as well. So we're kind of investigating some of the more esoteric levels of the discussion about porn, and you're welcome to comment at 855-450-FREE on whether or not you think that it can be empowering to women to engage in pornography, or is it always something that just simply that boosts the patriarchy, if you will. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. We've got Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. And will technologies enslave mankind or liberate us? Possibly. It depends on who has the better ideas. In the book, Quantum Vibe Volume 2, Murphy, our favorite mad scientist, and his hard-drinking sidekick continue their epic mission to open a vast new frontier for humankind. As they navigate complex political and corporate intrigues on a terraformed Mars and colonized Vesta, dark forces are plotting to steal, murder, and start an interplanetary war. Whose tech will overcome? Whose ideas will win the day? Quantum Vibe is a popular Liberty-themed sci-fi adventure webcomic, which updates daily and free, by the way, at bigheadpress.com. Their latest volume, with 161 full-color pages, is available right now at amazon.com, barnesandnoble.com, and direct from the publisher at bigheadpress.com. Now, if you want to help Free Talk Live out and get the latest episode or get the latest volume of Quantum Vibe, that's Quantum Vibe Volume 2, you can go to shop.freetalklive.com and you'll find links to Amazon there. So just go to shop.freetalklive.com, click into the Amazon of your preference, Amazon UK, Amazon US, Amazon Canada, and order your copy of Quantum Vibe Volume 2.
I got to look at this Quantum Vibe. I'm a big fan of science fiction. Ian,
you haven't checked it out yet? It's totally good stuff.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Good writing, good artwork.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to it. I have another question for you that kind of cuts right to the root of the matter. Do you prefer science fiction or fantasy?
Probably science fiction.
I think I have to lean that way myself. I kind of grew up on fantasy.
And by fantasy, you mean like swords and gnomes and elves and things like that?
Especially gnomes.
Yeah, I definitely grew up on science fiction.
Okay. Well, I grew up on fantasy, Tolkien and Dragonlance novels, and then as I got older, I started reading those science fiction books, and now those are my favorite. And I like the science fiction movies, and that's all I got to say about that.
I prefer more of the science fiction sort of action horror genre, like Aliens and Predator films. Those I really enjoyed.
A lot of the ideas, the fantastical ideas that come in science fiction settings just aren't able. You can't communicate those on the screen.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that. So things that go boom. And that's always fun. 855-450-FREE. We're talking about pornography. Nathan is on the line in Texas on Skype. Nathan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, go ahead with your thoughts.
The first thing I wanted to say is I think it's unfortunate that you don't have enough lemon pledge in the studio.
That's funny. It's a reference to the Dave in New York controversy where he called in after hours and Daryl played with him by affecting a voice of apparently a character from the Family Guy show.
Indeed, and in that exchange on the Family Guy show, it was made abundantly clear that no, she does not have to bring it from home. It's his responsibility to provide the lemon pledge.
Very good.
So about this porn thing, that you mentioned a theory earlier about parental investment and paternal, in particular, paternal security.
Yes.
Well, that's actually not just a theory someone made up. Well, I guess every theory is, someone had to make it up, but there's some limited support for it.
What is the theory? Can you recap that for me?
So the theory is that evolution and natural selection drive the development of adaptations of certain genes and behaviors, and that this theory can be applied to humans. And in this case, the theory is that paternal security, or I guess you could say paternal investment, is that the father would be less likely to help care for offspring that do not share his genes. Therefore, ostensibly, mechanisms would develop. And this is actually David Friedman's theory in his book I was about to plug, where he talks about the origin of marriage, and indeed that the origin of marriage can be tied back to paternal security.
One way that I was thinking about it,
Nathan.
was that you're a man, you have a woman, you're trying to create offspring. Now, if she's getting some action on the side, she might produce a child, and maybe it's yours and maybe it isn't, but you're still going to be caring for it, and that really chaps your hide.
Exactly. And the thing about humans,
but a woman,
is that because you think you own the woman?
Well, any child the woman bears is going to be hers, so she doesn't care about who she's having sex with.
Well, why does it chap your hide? Is it because you think you own the woman, or the man, the theoretical man, thinks that he owns the woman, and how dare she sleep with another man?
Well, no, it comes back to gene selection because in this case, the selfish gene wants to propagate itself to the next generation. And if you're caring for someone else's offspring, then that's not very good for the genes. David Friedman talks about this in his book, Future Imperfect. And the evidence he does cite it's limited because it's hard to really be certain about a lot of this evolutionary psychology stuff. He does mention a few species of birds where this kind of thing happens, where like male birds of some species, I forget, they'll refuse to care for offspring that are not them or not theirs, and they'll try to guard the female during her fertile period so that no other males can get to her and things like this.
Okay. So what? I mean, so what's the point of all this? I mean, okay, maybe there's some evidence for these theories as far as, evolution, etc., but does it really matter now? I mean, aren't we more enlightened now towards sexuality, or maybe we're not?
Well,
maybe
that's
not
a good
so much.
Point, because you could say that even if this theory is true, and you could argue, well, maybe marriage came about to ensure exclusive access of each man to one woman, so he wouldn't have to, so there'd be minimal conflict about offspring. We don't live in that world anymore where you can't tell paternity. I mean, they have paternity tests now that you can buy. The contraception exists today. And indeed, we've seen the decline of traditional marriage in the modern world. And you could argue, well, maybe traditional marriage isn't necessarily, maybe it's not a thing anymore.
And going even further afield, I would suggest that genetics is not so important anymore. With technology, people are going to be able to tailor their own genes, tailor the genes of their children. With new technology, we may have immortality provided by our health care system. Clinical immortality. So we can achieve immortality without having to make it happen with our children, but we can have it for ourselves.
Hey, Nathan, thanks
for
a lot
of these issues.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say a lot of those issues, like what are the implications of parents selecting their children's genes and things like that. David Friedman covers in his book, Future Imperfect.
There's a lot of issues to discuss there. Thanks for the call tonight. 855-450-FREE. Helen is in Ithaca. You're on Free Talk Live, Helen.
Oh, hi. Yeah. I kind of, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, okay. I kind of, I think Nathan is taking that book too seriously.
All right, we're going to come back with your thoughts here, Helen. Hang on in moments here. 855-450-FREE. And just moments remain here on Free Talk Live, but maybe enough time to get your call and thoughts in here in moments. This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airwaves.
The following is an important free offer for smokers only. The makers of Victor, the world's most advanced e-cigarette, have just authorized the release of free starter kits to all smokers who call in the next 10 minutes. Valued at $99, these Victor starter kits are available for free, but only while supplies last. To guarantee your free kit, call in the next 10 minutes, 1-800-564-6941. The revolutionary Victor design creates only water vapor. There is no foul-smelling smoke and no unhealthy tar. This allows individuals to enjoy the nicotine they love without restriction, no matter where they are. The financial advantages over cigarettes are considerable as well. It is estimated that the average smoker can save hundreds of dollars a month with Victor. Again, free Victor starter kits are now available to any smoker who calls in the next 10 minutes. This is a radio-only offer not available in stores, so call now for your free kit. 1-800-564-6941. 1-800-564-6941. 1-800-564-6941.
The TalkStream Live app for iPhone, iPad, and Android is the fastest and easiest way to access live talk radio anytime, anywhere. Download the free TalkStream Live app right now and see for yourself. You'll enjoy instant access to the best in live talk radio. Find your favorite shows and discover some new ones. The TalkStream Live app is available in the App Store, the Google Play Store, or visit TalkStreamLive.com. That's TalkStreamLive.com.
Please pay attention, folks. AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com is a Christian, veteran-owned wholesale preparedness company. Our mission is to get the Word of God out to all those in need of a Bible and who cannot afford one. We also provide great tasting freeze-dried food from only 50 cents per serving, GMO-free food, over 1,000 preparedness items.
Plus, for a limited time, type in the word Genesis at checkout and receive 10% off your total purchase. That's AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com. Have you ever wanted to help a hardworking person get their business off the ground? Then join me in enjoying some BuzzBox coffee. Let's make a difference, one cup at a time. Join us in helping people buy their own coffee farms through at least 100 microloans via World Vision. Free Talk Live coffee drinkers will truly change lives forever. To get the best coffee you've ever tasted, it's organic, shade-grown, and top 1% Arabica grade. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com. The first pound's free, just cover shipping.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free.
Free Talk Live, moments remain here, but enough time for you with your thoughts if you dial in right now to 855-450-FREE or Skype us, username LRN.FM. Feel free to reach out in the way you think is best and talk to us about whatever's on your mind. Although tonight, the overarching topic has been Belle Knox and then the larger discussion of pornography. Is it empowering to women? Or is the reverse true? The argument being made for the latter here at theweek.com. That's the article we're sharing with you at the moment, and we're going to get back to your phone calls as well. But Belle Knox thinks that it is, and there's actually an article over at reason.com that says Belle may be a libertarian, as a matter of fact. Belle, of course, making headlines recently as she was outed, unfortunately, by some scumbag student at Duke University where she was going to school. He outed her as a porn star, and she has since embraced that image, but reluctantly, not because she's afraid of, not because she's not proud of what she does, because there are scary people out there who are threatening her over what she does. And so we're going to go back to the phone calls here and your thoughts. Helen, you're back with us here. You barely had a chance to get your thoughts out before we had to run into that break. Go ahead with your thoughts now, Helen.
Okay. All right. I'll skip the thing of Nathan's thing about protecting the gene pool stuff. But about Belle Knox, she had to be a pretty tough cookie to get into that line of business to begin with. Mm-hmm. And now she's under attack, both by these scumbags, as you said it, and I agree with you guys, that hypocrites who've outed her, are harassing her and threatening her. And she's being attacked by feminists because they don't agree with what she's doing with her. But so she can be tough for a while. She's on a defensive mode. She's got the adrenaline flowing. I feel bad for her because you can only keep that up for so long. I think she's headed for a fall like that. You cannot just be that tough, on and on and on and be attacked. And I feel sorry for the girl. I don't know. She better get a good therapist, really, yesterday. Soon,
I get where you're coming from. On the other hand, though, it is something that comes with some level of celebrity. Whenever you have a level of celebrity, especially doing something or saying something that's controversial, inevitably people are going to be upset about it, and they're going to say nasty things. I've seen all kinds of people say nasty things to me online, and it's more just something you try to ignore, I think.
No, but that's obviously it's one of the most disrespected professions. So she's going to have to live with that, and to be famous for that, it's like you being famous because you're arguing on the air, or you're in protests and stuff. You'll never have to be ashamed of that. But she might, she might have a crash, and I hope she doesn't. But it's that guy is a jerk for outing her, I think.
For sure. Helen, thanks for your call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. 855-450-FREE. Let me wrap up this story here from theweek.com. This is one of the critics of Belle Knox. Her name is Elizabeth Stoker. So she's talking about the question of, does porn really change gender roles? I guess some people make that argument. I don't know if I agree that it does. So I may agree with the article in this particular case. But she says that Belle's assertion is that by making a choice, any choice, that she's bucked the patriarchy because she's asserted her decision-making capabilities. But this is only a net increase in one particular woman's freedom, which means both that it isn't any improvement for the status of women as a whole, and also that it only signals an increase in liberties, but not necessarily any gain in measurable well-being. This is perhaps satisfactory in a libertarian frame, wherein freedom is the ultimate value, but for women who are interested in measurable material gains, it leaves almost everything to be desired. So she's saying that that's not necessarily a gain in measurable well-being for this person to be able to make a choice to do certain things, act in pornography, etc. But whenever you can make a choice, that does improve your well-being, right? And that you had the freedom to make a choice in the first place, so you're well from that particular aspect.
All of my favorite economists presuppose that any consensual exchange makes both parties better off.
Well, right. And so, right, if Belle Knox didn't think that this was worthwhile, this career that she's chosen was worthwhile, she could stop at any time. And she never had to get into it in the first place. If she got in and discovered it wasn't what she thought it was, she could stop and go back to Duke and do whatever. I'm not sure if she's still going to Duke. I'm not real clear on that. But basically, Elizabeth Stoker is placing her value set over top of Belle's and claiming that, oh, well, this isn't a gain in measurable well-being. Well, that's by your values, Elizabeth Stoker. You're looking at Belle's choices and you're saying, oh, well, she hasn't gained anything as far as her measurable well-being is concerned, because you, Elizabeth, do not value what she's chosen as a career. But Belle has been pulling in what I would imagine is a fairly decent living off of this. She's been doing it to where she could pay for her college bills at Duke University with $60,000 a year. If you can help pay for a $60,000 a year college, that seems like it's a gain in measurable well-being.
Uh-huh.
And again, so it just all depends on the individual actor in the particular circumstance, whether it's you deciding to go and work at a fast food restaurant or clean for a living or do porn. I agree with you, Jonny Ray, that if it wasn't worth it, you wouldn't do it, generally.
Right.
One final thought here from Elizabeth Stoker. This is her final paragraph. She says, one hopes young women paying attention to Knox will choose not to campaign for ambiguous increases of freedom, but rather in targeted betterments in the arenas of life that you can take to the bank. Good and fair wages, health and safety in the workplace. In the world of porn, none of those goods are on offer.
Good and fair wages. A sentimental hogwash.
What do you mean by that, Jonny Ray?
I mean, a good and fair wage is whatever is what it is. I don't think that a good and fair wage, all wages that you go into and you accept, both parties, voluntary, consensual, that's good and that's fair. Yeah.
It's because you agreed to it. And yeah, a lot of people start at the bottom of the rungs of success, and you've got to work your way up those rungs.
Yeah, maybe Belle Knox is going to start as an actress, and maybe she she likes the business, and maybe she'll be a
producer,
or a director, or
and then
a studio owner.
Then she can direct in the way that she wants. And there is porn out there that is geared towards women. It's not all a male marketplace, so you can do different kinds of acting. Anyway, we've, I think, dug into this issue pretty deep, and I appreciate that. Jonny Ray, let's get into your game of the week. Don't want to forget that.
Sure. My game of the week is Card Wars.
Card Wars.
Card Wars. Adventure Time. Are you familiar with Adventure Time?
No. It's a television show?
Yep, it is. It's a cartoon. I think it's on Cartoon Network. I've seen one episode of it. It's kind of off kilter, I'll say.
They like those shows on the Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
A little bizarre.
Bizarre is the word. And the Card Wars. Now, I've only seen one episode, so I can't speak to the lore of Adventure Time,
unfortunately. So you're not a fan of this game.
Furthermore, I dropped my phone into a bucket of floor stripper, so I wasn't able to...
the screen was already cracked, though, right? It was on its last legs?
Well, it was not. No, it wasn't on its last legs. The screen was cracked, and it was ugly, but it worked great. And it would have continued to work great if I hadn't have done what I did. Anyway, that's all that's to say that I haven't completed the game.
Started the game.
I have started it.
What is Card Wars? What is the goal?
It seems to be, with my limited experience with Magic the Gathering, it seems to be based on that. Basically, you've got yourself and your opponent, and each one of you has a certain amount of hit points.
Okay.
And then there's the table in front of you. And you play your cards in front of you. There's 4 lanes, so you can play a card in each of these lanes, and that card will typically be some kind of a beast. Some kind of beast from the Adventure Time universe.
All right.
And so you play your creature, and you try and protect yourself. If one of those lanes gets open, one of the creature in that lane is defeated, then you're vulnerable.
Okay.
And the guy across from you, if he's got some way to deal damage across the table in that lane, then it's going to come out of your...
So is this a multiplayer game?
I can't tell yet, Ian.
So
far,
were you playing against a computer?
Yes, I was.
So there's a single-player aspect for sure. Then.
There's for sure a single-player aspect. It costs $3.99.
Now, how did you find out about this game? If you're not a fan of the series.
Good question. I think that what happened was I was looking on the Android store, the Android app place, and I think I looked up card because I had Dominion on the brain, and I was looking for a card game, and I saw Card Wars, and I went for it. The appeal of the game, first of all, I'm looking forward to going back to it. Right now, I'm kind of in the early stages, and it seems like I've seen all this before, but the humor and the aesthetic in the game is very Adventure Time, which I'm beginning to enjoy more and more.
So it's a funny game.
Yes. Yes.
And also strategy.
There's strategy. You manage your deck. You basically have your deck pre-built before the game starts, unlike my favorite card game, Dominion. And then as you play the mechanics, you can choose different things in the middle of your hand for sort of that's more tactics,
But you're having fun with it. It's called Card Wars, and it's an Adventure Time game, Jonny Ray's Game of the Week. You can get it on, I believe, iOS and Android.
Right.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Meowbit is free software from the Freedom Fiends that allows you to effortlessly view .bit websites. Meowbit works on all browsers. .bit is a new type of web address that's not controlled by any government or corporation. And we'll show you how to register a .bit domain today using a few cents worth of Namecoin. If anyone ever shuts down your .com website, users will still be able to get to your site using your .bit address in our free software, Meowbit. Go to meowbit.com. That's meowbit.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The live edition of Peace News Now is next after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates, online at thelibertybeat.com. This is Justin Armand.
And this is Jessica Armand.
Here with your Liberty Beat for March 11th, 2014.
Gold opened today at $1,349, silver at $21.16, and Bitcoin is trading at $627. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from GrowYourOwnGroceries.org. Learn to grow, prepare, and preserve your own food and medicine at GrowYourOwnGroceries.org, and from Brave New Books, online at BraveNewBookstore.com. And from Affordable Sound, CD and DVD duplication along with posters and promotional materials, online at affordablesound.com, or give them a call at 512-459-5253. And now the news.
Over $2 million. That's the amount of taxes Colorado collected in 1 month from retail marijuana sales. It was only a few months ago that pot became legal in the state. The Associated Press reports that retail marijuana sales topped $14 million during the first month, which fell below state predictions. Taxes collected on Colorado marijuana sales go towards a variety of state projects, including school construction. A federal judge temporarily ended the destruction of millions of data records collected by the NSA more than 5 years ago. Russia Today reports that U.S. District Judge Jeffrey White of San Francisco has ordered the NSA to halt the destruction until March 19th. That's when another hearing will be held to further extend the deadline. Internet privacy advocates, Electronic Frontier Foundation, had petitioned for the restraining order. A 15-year-old boy hit in the head by a tear gas canister launched by police in Turkey has died. The Associated Press reports that Berkin Elvan had been in a coma since the time of the incident. He died Tuesday at a hospital in Istanbul. He was on his way to buy bread when he became entangled in last summer's anti-government protests that led police to launch the tear gas canister.
Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Sovereign BTC, media, marketing, and consulting for the Bitcoin ecosystem, operated by Liberty Beat founder John Bush, online at sovereignbtc.com, and from The Corey Moore Show, live Friday nights 9 p.m. Central Standard Time at CoreyMooreShow.com, and from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, precious metals at reasonable rates since 1977. Online at rrbi.co. You're listening to The Liberty Beat for March 11th, 2014. Be sure to check out the website at thelibertybeat.com.
On Monday, NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden spoke via Skype at the South by Southwest Media and Arts Festival in Austin, Texas. The former intelligence contractor has appeared in international reviews since leaking information on the NSA's mass surveillance program last summer. However, this was the first time speaking directly to an American audience. Snowden spoke extensively on encryption of data and the use of Tor browser as solutions, as well as encouraging the communications industry to create programs with built-in protections. When asked whether he had regrets about his decision to leak the documents, Snowden responded, "Would I do it again? Absolutely, regardless of what happens to me. This is something we had a right to. I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and I saw the Constitution was being violated on a massive scale." The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, announced on Monday that it will begin sending reconnaissance flights to watch the escalating situation in Ukraine. Eastern Ukraine has been the scene of an international crisis as Russian troops invaded and seized control of the Crimean Peninsula last week. NATO released a statement detailing plans to fly the airborne warning and control system planes over Poland and Romania. The United States is expected to contribute more U.S. fighter jets to Poland as part of the NATO mission. According to an internal document obtained by Reuters, biotechnology corporation Syngenta will be removing one of its genetically engineered seeds from the Canadian market.
Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Central Texas Gunworks, CHL courses, self-defense training, and firearm sales. Call them at 512-731-3585 or find them online at centraltexasgunworks.com. And from Cabo Bob's, Southwest burritos with homemade tortillas. Online at cabobobs.com.
You've been listening to the Liberty Beat. Remember, freeing your mind is freeing our world.
We've made significant progress wiring the nation's schools for the internet, but we have to do more. Every child in America should have an internet-capable computer in their bedroom at home, preferably with a high-resolution webcam. I have been to children's chat rooms and have been shocked and disappointed to find they are frequently empty. Even when these youngsters do manage to find their way online, they lack the skills to do something as simple as pinpoint their location on Google Maps. I long for the day when someone can log onto the Nickelodeon Under 13 chat room and type, "Hey, any kids in here like to play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? I have a Nintendo at my house," and be overwhelmed with instant messages. Then I'll know we're doing our job supporting technology in this country.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Peace News Now.